two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is Sgt McClusky. What's going on, Sarge?
Tail end of being sick, so...
Yeah, you look like you've been through hell.
Yeah, well...
Did you go to hell and back?
I mean, it's a normal cold cycle. I kind of know what's going on, but whatever's going around is not normal. I'm not even going to get into stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about. But like if you have a fever, right?
Yeah.
Like the type of cold you have, like I have the flu.
I don't get fevers.
I have a fever. No, I'm just saying.
I get the shit out of fevers.
If somebody has a fever, like I got a fever, like so you have a fever for like that day, right? Like or maybe it takes you a couple days to break the fever. You're sick, right?
Right.
So the fever that I had lasted 5 hours, 102, and then just went away. Like.
Nice.
That's not normal. It's not normal. So the tail end of a cold or the flu or whatever you want to call it for me, the tail end is the little ha 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 in the throat, right?
Yeah.
And it's the kind of stuff that where if you cough it up, it needs to come out. Like you need to spit, no swallowing. Right? You have to spit it out, right? So that's kind of like where I am right now. And so if I leave the screen, you'll know why. But it just kind of hangs on. Like the end of this thing just kind of hangs on, and it's just annoying at this point. Like I was sick legit 3 days. Like a legit 3 days, I was actually sick.
Yeah.
After that, it was like this roller coaster of like, well, what can we give him now? He's only been sick for 3 days. Like, let's give him a fever.
Yeah. Let's get.
All right, so I got a fever for 5 hours, and then it went away. And I'm like, I didn't even break the fever. Like, how do I have a fever? I haven't done anything yet, and then it went away. It's messed up. It's messed up.
Oh, well, I'm glad you feel better.
I tried playing games, and inevitably, every time I was comfortable playing a game, if I wasn't coughing, I would fall asleep. So that's the problem.
Oh, I hate
that. I would cough myself awake.
Yeah, I
right?
hate that. That's the worst.
As soon as I was actually peaceful and I could fall asleep, I would just fall asleep immediately because I haven't slept because I was coughing myself awake the entire time.
That's the worst
Exhausting.
when you're sleeping and you cough yourself awake. Yeah, it's the worst.
Cough myself awake.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
The worst. Like, leave me alone. I'm sleeping.
So I watched a bunch of videos of Suicide Squad and the new mods for Fallout London.
The video game industry has gone mad. That's all I know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm ready.
We'll talk
I'm
about.
ready.
We'll talk about that.
Before we get into anything, though, I want you to know that I did not watch the PlayStation State of Play. I forgot that it was on today, and it was on
yesterday, so it's okay.
I thought yesterday was today.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't watch it either. I have what was there, so we'll talk about. We'll bring up a list and we'll get what was there. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Palworld. It's smashing records, and the video game industry is losing its mind against it. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad. The video game industry is losing it, and Twitter and everyone's just they're cashing in on that negativity. Right, I'm watching people's videos, and they're up in the 100,000 views of people. They put Suicide Squad in the title, and everyone's like, "We got more people crapping on it. Let me see." Right, so that's what's happening there. We're going to talk about Microsoft's helping out Palworld. We're going to be talking about the EA CEO talks about new platforms' impact. We're going to talk about PlayStation handheld development, maybe. We're going to talk about the Neuralink chip. Watch out. We have an origin story happening, Sarge. Origin story of a villain happening in the world. Super villain, yeah.
Listen, don't laugh. It's possible.
I'm not laughing. I'm literally. I'm calling it. I put my fingers to the head. That's it. Origin story of a villain right here. Movie. Xbox fiscal year 24, quarter 2. We're going to talk about what they made there. We're going to talk about Embracer Group. You know, it's funny that the company's called Embracer, and yet they've done nothing but they're embracive. Like, so they've literally abrasive. That's right,
Abrasive. Yeah.
abrasive. And then we're gonna talk about Hogwarts Legacy.
Are we allowed?
We are.
I thought that was the game that shall not be named.
That was last year's game that shall not be named. This year's game that shall not be named is Suicide Squad. Both WB titles. And funny enough, the year before that, the game that should not be named was Gotham Knights, which is also a WB game. Amazing. So that's what's on the show today. If you guys like what we do here, Generation X Games is a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week. We rant along the way. We're here Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to us after the fact on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. So I still got to upload those. I did put a new episode. We're only 9 weeks behind now instead of 10. So I'll get to them. But if you're here live, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. So let's get to what we've been playing, Sarge. Yeah. All right. So I know you're sick, but incoherent when you're sick. What did you play or not play? What little did you play?
Well, when I was conscious, a little bit of Division 2. I watched a bunch of videos on Suicide Squad.
Did the new season come out for Division 2?
I watched you. No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I watched you play Suicide Squad. I watched a bunch of other people play Suicide Squad. So I'm up to par on what's going on there. I played a little bit of the Fallout London mod.
Ooh.
Because I downloaded it on my Well, I rebought Fallout basically because it doesn't work. It doesn't work well on the Xbox. You have to play it on the computer for it to handle it. Very interesting. Those guys did a wonderful job. The other thing I found out that there's a guy called King Gath, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but King Gath's the big guy. He does the mods for Fallout 4 back when it came out, and they've been ongoing doing these mods, and it's called Sim Settlements 2. Right? And so what they did is they did Sim Settlements 2, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3, and they're actually like mini campaigns with guys you can find and new guys in the world, and like basically like a whole different storyline that's inside the world. And I'm like, these guys did a really good job. So I downloaded that. I've been playing that on and off. Mostly though, watching videos because I knew that I knew there was a shitstorm coming, so I wanted to make sure I was up to date. Nothing really stood out as far as like insanity games that I played, but those mod guys, man, true passionate people for a video game who do mods and take the time and they have their volunteers do it. Just so good, dude. Like I'm playing a game that I finished 4 times over, and they put stuff in the game that makes you want to go back and find all the stuff that they put in the game all over again, and you're completely fine with it. Like, even though I was bored shitless with the game, I still wanted to go back and go through it. That's how good the mods were. So I'm like, I'll give you a good example. Like, people got tired of like, oh right, Preston, another settlement needs help, right? I got to build some more shit. Like, I don't want to build anything. I don't give a shit about your people or anybody else around here. I don't care, right? So King Gath made the Sim Settlements thing, and so what happens is it's inside the build menu.
So this is a mod inside of a mod.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And so you find these widgets, right, that have a specific name, and there's an actual storyline in the game about the widgets, and the widgets cause the thing to become more convenient, basically. So instead of me worrying about building houses and shit for people, I put a plot of land down and I say, I want this to be a junkyard, and I leave.
And then the NPCs
I go do whatever. And when I come back, the NPCs have built a junkyard there, and their guys actually showed up and they're working the junkyard.
Oh, wow, that's like Palworld.
Yeah, the guys actually do this. They do their thing, right? So I'm like, does that work for everything? I'm like, so you tell them like, I want a house here, and you leave, and you'll come back, and the guy will build a house. And the longer he stays there, if you give him the other options for happiness, like does he have enough food, does he have enough water, is he defended enough, does he have a pet, like all this nonsense, you don't know right away. You don't know what this guy likes. You just happen to be walking into town talking to the guy, right? And so he'll drop hints like it's actual interaction with the NPCs, right? And then if you match the things that he likes, then the house gets bigger. He gets a bigger house
Cool.
and he gets happier, right? But you can do that for the whole town. Like you just put plots of land down and then just leave. And then you come back and they build whatever they want.
See, I like that because there's one thing I don't really like in Palworld, that you have to sit there and hit the hammer to your thing over and over when you're building something, right? I mean, you can have the guys do it, and I like that part, right? So I like that. In Fallout, like if you want to make a town, then you could just put the plots of land. Now, in that mod, do you have to have the resources to, like, do you have to have like 15 weapon parts to put a plot down, or is it just random, like you can just put stuff down?
Initially, yes, but that's why you put down the junkyard first. You put down the junkyard first,
I got you.
And then they just gather junk. And then when they have enough junk to build whatever it is that you gave them options to build, they build it themselves.
That's cool.
Right? Then you can find new guys new companions to talk with, new guys you can go on missions with. Like it's a whole different game inside the game. So
can you bring people that you find in the world, like if they sort of like Palworld? I'm making comparisons.
That's fine.
Can somebody you find out in the world is good at, I don't know, scavenging, and then you bring them back to your town, and then they're the ones that go out and find stuff to bring back to your town? Is there any kind of what's the perks or anything from the people you find?
Inside the original Fallout game, if your game wasn't glitched or bugged, you could find the level 4 storekeeper guys. They were guys in the world that you identify by talking to them, and like they'll say they want to come to your town, and when you bring them to your town, you're supposed to find the store to put them at. And once they're at that store, they allow that store to do like the greatest sale or the greatest thing in it, like the best weapons or the best clothing or the best whatever, but you don't know who they are unless you've played the game a few times or looked it up online. But like there's people like that in the game, yeah. There's guys that are really good at shooting.
I love when people, like you said, that are so passionate about certain things. Like the people that are still keeping like Star Wars Galaxies alive.
The London mod, bro, is incredible. Those guys made London in Fallout universe. It's incredible.
See, I love that. I love when people do certain mods and go all out. I even love the people in Minecraft when they make a mod and do stuff in Minecraft. But then you have the passionate people like keeping Star Wars Galaxies alive, or the people that do in City of Heroes that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Then you had the person that we talked about last week that did Spaceborne 2, right? The one guy who made the game like almost as good as Starfield with thousands of people working on it, right? Like then you have this mod. Then you have this mod where this person's doing it for Fallout just because they're a Fallout fan and they're passionate about it. How many? Do you know how many people worked on it? I'm sure I could look it up. Do you know how many people worked on the mod?
The mod for Fallout, I think it was like maybe like 5 to 8 guys. The London one's a lot of people because those guys were working over years. Because I looked up the London guys like 5 years ago. They were working on it 5 years ago. It's just done really well. Like if I didn't tell you it was a mod, I loaded it up into your PC and say, "Here, I'll play some new Fallout London." You're like, "Oh, this is amazing." Did Bethesda do this? And you're like, "Nah, it's not Bethesda." And like, but they're good at making it look like Bethesda did it.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing for me was the reason why I stopped playing Fallout 4 originally was because I like to min-max everything in the game. I like to find all the weapons and all the stuff. And because there were so many glitches that you couldn't find certain guys, or they didn't show up. Like people said in the chat, like they just glitch out. They don't show up in your town. Like you tell them to show up and then they disappear forever, right? So inevitably, I stopped playing. Then the guy came out with the unofficial Fallout 4 patch. And if you look it up online, it's kind of lengthy, the actual verbiage. But the guys went into the game and found all the broken shit that Bethesda just said, "I don't care anymore. We're done." Right? And they went in and fixed all the broken quest lines, all the shit that's missing, all the guys that don't show up. It's an unofficial patch. The problem with it, though, is it interferes with like your achievements. So if you care about achievements,
right?
You know. But the fact is that patch makes the game or the end game playable because then you can find all the guys you want to find. Like, for instance, I'm walking around and I found a guy and he looked like a suit of armor, but I think it was like he almost looked like the from the video from Pink Floyd, The Wall, like the guy with the gas mask on and the World War I helmet, right? But it's all like shiny, right? And he calls himself Nightingale, and he talks and he has a conversation with you, and he's some kind of like free-ranging medic guy. Then he tells you if you're ever in trouble, you can always look for my stuff. I hide boxes around churches and hospitals. If you ever need something, you can always look there. And then, sure enough, as I start walking around the world, every time I see a church, I'll walk around the church and I'll find a box, and it says Nightingale's box. So they put the fucking guy in there, the fucking storyline in there, his fucking shit's everywhere. Like, they just do good. They just do good work, man.
I'm showing the trailer right now of Fallout London.
They just do good work. Like, it's refreshing to know that gaming is still possible with all the oppression that they have. Like all the oppression that they can't handle it. Like, guys know how to make games. Just let them make a game. Let them do whatever they want to do. It's just done well, man.
Yeah, this looks insane. But you know, it's funny that people give crap to Bethesda all the time, like for the engine and stuff. I'm assuming, did they use the creation engine for this? I would assume they did, right?
I mean, I'm not tech savvy enough to disagree. It looks like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it does look like it.
The flexibility that you can do.
Unless they're using Unreal 5 and they're making it look crappy. I was like, I mean,
the fact that they can do stuff like this with this engine is why people like the games. I think not only are the modding community huge in the Fallout games, and Starfield's only been out for what, 4 months, 5 months. Like, I can't imagine. We talked about that's the most modded game right now, and it's only 5 months old. Where Skyrim had like 69,000 mods, and this one has like 6,900 mods already, or something like that. And so, going forward, look, why Bethesda doesn't look at these guys and go, okay, we're going to sign you and then sell this? I have no idea, right? I mean, I'm glad they don't, because you can just get the game and do it. But yeah, it's insane. It's insane the amount of, they're showing you right now all the different cities and regions or areas that you can go to, right? And they're showing you, it looks beautiful, it looks great.
I mean, like, just for the last point, and then we're off of this, is the fact that, like, people say it's been 200 years. Why is the fucking ground still brown and nothing's growing? And you're correct. After 200 years, grass would start growing again, right? So this guy made a map, made a mod, right? What would Fallout 4 look like if it was actually 200 years and stuff was growing back, right? And you better believe you got to use your PC to run this, because you can't run that on your Xbox.
But that's right? Exactly why it's like that, right?
Looks amazing. Like, the grass is all grown in. It's all jungle shit because it's been 200 years. The grass will grow back. Like, That's what happens.
Yeah, but at also a point, the grass would stop growing at a certain point, because that's what it does. It just doesn't just keep growing. Like, you don't have grass, 100 feet tall, right? You know what I mean?
Well, if no one cuts the grass, grass grows. That's how it grows.
But it also stops at a certain point.
The only way it stops is because some animal eats it. That's it.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. Right now, during wintertime, I don't cut the grass at all. The grass just stops growing. It just stops.
Your grass is a ceiling. Okay.
Right. And then during summertime, it grows like weeds. You gotta cut it like every other day. Okay. So yeah, grass does have a height limit.
So no, I'm not a farmer. Thank you for telling me.
Right. It's just like if you take a plant and you put it into a pot, it'll grow only to a certain size until you exchange pots, right? Because the roots can't grow. That's why when you plant it in the ground, the tree can grow and be fucking like gigantic. But if you take a tree and put it in a pot, it'll only grow to a certain point, because that's all it can grow. It doesn't try to outgrow its home. So anyway, not to get into stuff like this, but looks amazing, right? It looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, but
it's been a fun week, unconscious and conscious. So
all right,
over to you.
All right, so I've been playing. I played a little Palworld. Okay, still like Palworld. I knew I was going to stop playing Palworld because they're showing you. Hold on, Shudge. They were showing the building stuff. I didn't know this video was 13 minutes long. They were showing the build stuff. I'm gonna have to go watch this. All right, I'll come back to that.
It's so good. They did such a good job. They really did.
All right, that's very impressive. I'm gonna have to watch that later. So I've been playing Palworld, and I knew I was gonna stop playing Palworld because Suicide Squad was coming out. So really, Palworld I've been playing. I'm still enjoying it. I think I'm level 24, 25 now. Going around just exploring the world. I got a flying mount now. Built a harness or a saddle for it. Now I'm flying around the map, finding a bunch of different stuff, just exploring. Really enjoying that game. We'll talk about Palworld more during the news segment. What I've been
did Did you get Derpy to have the rocket launchers on his back?
I actually have. There's this. I forget what it's called. It starts with an L. Lignant or something like that. It's a little squirrel creature. He sits on top of your head, and he's got like a SMG that he shoots. And then I have a penguin that I have now that shoots rockets out of his mouth or his ass. I don't know which one it is, but it's it's pretty funny. And then I have one other one that does like an AR. They're all Ligma, right? That's what it's called, Dupless. Yeah. So they're fun little things that are in the game. Still enjoying it, but right now I'm 100% into Suicide Squads. So I'll talk about Suicide Squads as playing, and we'll talk about the drama of Suicide Squads once we get to the news segment, right? So I've been playing Suicide Squads. I beat the game. I beat it in 21 hours. I know there's people out there talking about they beat it in like 9 hours, 10 hours, and each their own. If you want to pay your hard-earned money and try to speed run through a game, by all means, go ahead. I mean, I try to complete a game and do as much as possible in the game because I like my money and I like to stretch it out as much far as possible. But that's just me as a person. So, playing through the story, the acting in Suicide Squads is phenomenal. The voice acting, the visual animations of these characters, the cutscenes of this. If you could just cut out the parts that you're playing to go from point A to point B, battle some things, and then get to the next cutscene, this is a movie. This is 100% a movie, and it looks phenomenal. I like the jokes. I like the setting. Okay, we'll get to what people are saying about the setting and stuff like that, but I absolutely love the gameplay itself. The gameplay itself is a lot of fun. If you like the traversal, it looks chaotic, but when you play it, they've done such a good balance of where it makes you feel like a badass as you're like flipping in the air. Like, because of the auto aim and stuff like that, you could flip up in the air as you're falling. You could headshot somebody, and you could feel like an amazing gamer. You're like, oh my god, it's so good, right? And as you're playing through the campaign, you don't really have to worry about leveling up your guns. Like, you find a gun, has a green arrow, put it on your guy, go through to the next thing. You don't have to worry about like leveling it up or trying to do too much. You could just focus on enjoying the story, playing the game, getting used to the traversal around the city and whatnot. Once you get to the end game, there's lots to do. And now someone that doesn't play looter shooters is going to look at you and go, well, you're doing the exact same thing over and over. Yeah, I know. I played Borderlands, and I played Destiny and Destiny 2 and Division 2 and Anthem and Marvel's Avengers and Outriders and anything other that you can collect loot. Diablo, okay, and that's exactly what you do. So check, right? You do the exact same things. Now they're like, well, it's kind of boring, and did you see what they did in Arkham? And it's like, this is not Arkham. This is a looter shooter, but I digress.
I get it.
They actually do a really good job in this game of keeping you where you could play solo. You could play the entire game solo. You could play the entire game 2-player co-op. You could play it 3-player co-op. You could play it 4-player co-op. You can do the end game all by yourself. You don't even need anybody else. So if you want to go do the hardest content in the game, you can do it by yourself, and you can just bring in the squad that you want to use. If you see people on the leaderboards and someone's got the top King Shark, you can just bring him in. He could be part of your team, and it makes your game easier as you go through because that person's got the gear that they have on and whatnot, and you feel like you're actually playing.
Interesting option.
What's that? Yeah,
it's an interesting option.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. And then if you're a person that didn't play and then they use your character, you go back to your mailbox and it gives you resources and weapons and different things. And it does really well. And it does it in a really nice way where it doesn't go bing, 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 like coming up on your screen. All it does, you go to your mailbox, it says, this is what you got. It shows you all the resources. It shows you the weapons. It shows you everything in your mailbox. So it doesn't pop up 15 times. So remember we were talking about this weeks ago, like if you're Shroud or Asmongold and you're playing the game and everyone's using your characters because of your streamers, are you going to be bombarded for 20 minutes trying? No, it just takes the guns and puts it in your inventory. There's 300 spots right now. A little low because once Joker comes in and the other 3 characters, there's 8 characters, 300 slots. Maybe they'll give you more slots as they go. But
how many pieces of gear does each character have?
2, 4, 6, 8.
8 pieces per character.
8 pieces. I think it's
300 slots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably need a little for different build choices for the 4 or 6 characters.
Then you have 10 loadouts that you can do. Okay, so if you have different builds with different characters, you can do the 10 loadouts that you have, which is nice. Loadout, check. Destiny didn't have loadouts. Anthem. Actually, Anthem had loadouts. Marvel's Avengers didn't have loadouts, right? There's games that have been out for a decade that don't have loadouts. Maybe they do now. I haven't played Destiny in 3 years. Maybe they got it in year 7, 8, something like that. Okay, but they have loadouts. They have respect your time. So respecting your time in this game is that if you want to come in and play for 20 minutes, you could do these rooftop missions, which is a lot of rooftop missions, right? There's a lot of things that you go on the rooftops, but it's in a city. What it is, right? That's like saying in Diablo, everything's on the ground, right? Well, that's what it is. It's the ground, and then this is a city where you fight on top of the rooftops, right?
The game's more vertical. We'll say that,
right? It's got verticality, right? So as you're doing it, you could do a mission. It takes you like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, right? It's got a timer for like 10 minutes, but you can complete it in like 5 minutes, right? It respects your time. So if you want to log in, you want to do some grinding for resources or whatnot, you can do that. If you want to
found an OP or you found an OP grenade and you can just start smacking through time stuff.
Yeah, it's great, right? I do have a note about that, and I'll tell you in a second. If you just want to do the Riddler challenges, you can do that, right? If you just want to explore the map and do different things, you can do that. So as you're going through the campaign, they have boss fights. I'm not going to spoil anything right now with it, but did the Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, and Brainiac fights in my order that I like, least to best. I like the least is the Batman fight, but I appreciate what they try to do with the Batman fight, but it's my least. It's just simplistic. I hope they change it down the road when they do the variants of Batman or whatever. Then it's Green Lantern, then it's Brainiac, then Brainiac, then Flash, and then Superman. I like the Superman battle because Superman's using all his abilities against you. Same with Flash. Flash is using all his abilities as well. But it's just really cool seeing Superman fly. And as it's the banter that Superman does while you're fighting him. Okay, let me see if I can get some footage of me playing. Right? The banter that he does is really cool. Like he's you gotta remember he's corrupt now, right? He's not the Bat or the Superman that you know, where he's goody two shoes and whatnot. Like he's evil, so he's shit talking you as he's trying to kill you. Let's see, story 1, story 2. I think this is it, right? So it's just a good fight overall. It's engaging. It keeps you on your toes. Now, a lot of people, if you're people that work for like IGN, you might think the Flash is too fast, but the actual Flash is just good, right? Like I'm being serious. Like he said he was too fast, and I thought it was fine. I had no issues. I beat him in my first go. I played on normal difficulty. Okay, I thought it was really fair. What he was, Superman fight. Here you go. So we'll get in the Superman fight. Bring that up. So he's flying around. He's doing all his stuff. He picks up a tank and smashes you with it. Right? Like if he picks up anything, you just have to get around. You're constantly moving around. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it's done well. I mean, how would you fight Superman? You know what I mean? Like you have no shot.
It's a tough call. I know.
Right.
Listen, I didn't watch you fight Superman, so I don't know what the battle looks like. So you're not going to spoil it for me or anything. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, that's a tough. If you're thinking about boss battles and you're making Superman the boss that you're fighting, that's a tough call, bro.
Yeah, he's doing his laser, he's doing his freeze breath, his speed, his strength. He's doing like the sonic bomb. He like builds up energy and it does this like big wave that comes at you. He does his breath, his wind. Like there's so much stuff going on, and you're just constantly moving around the map and constantly. It's not all right. And I love Destiny. I love Destiny. Right. I love Destiny, but all right. 3, 2, 1, shoot. Okay, go. Like it's none of that. It's literally Like you're just running around trying to take your shots at these superheroes because they're meta superheroes, right? Yeah. So it's a good time. The Batman one was lackluster, and I can show you what Batman looks like, for instance. Right? Batman's fight was this, and it was cool. Don't get me wrong. It's badass. You're fighting this like you're tripped up on the Scarecrow's gas, and Batman's this giant creature shooting laser beams at you, and you're like, oh my god. But this fight was so lackluster. This is it, basically. You just have to keep jumping and try not to die.
But once again, making heroes bosses to be fought is not an easy task, right? I could see what how boring would it be if it was just Batman kicking your ass? He would have to use like snares and stuns so you guys couldn't focus fire on him. So instead of doing that man-on-man kind of combat thing, they turned it into this hallucinogenic giant monster guy that you have to fight. Like they're trying something, man. They're trying something.
I like how you guys are saying. I like how you guys are saying spoilers in chat. Like
nothing.
If you've been on the internet for the last 4 days at all, you pretty much know the whole entire thing. I showed you a clip for 20 seconds. Settle down. Go ahead, Sarge.
No, that's it. Like it's not so easy to make a boss fight like work well. Like especially when you're picking a hero as the boss. You know, I'm happy that they tried. Like not everything can land on not everything's gonna be a 10 out of 10 boss, but
right.
I thought it was decent.
Well, that's the thing, right? Well, after I did the Flash is a good boss starting off, right? He's just running around. He doesn't make tornadoes and there's like these Sonic and shoots lightning at you, and it was pretty easy to say, right? I'm not the best gamer in the world, but it was pretty easy to see the tails, right? Like if you played any game, like he gets in this big. Like these big lightning bolts come out from the side of his head. You're like, oh, I have to shoot him now, right? And then he's like building up energy like Dragon Ball Z, and then he shoots a lightning at you. And if you miss that and go, I don't know how I got hit, like you got to open your eyes when you're using the controllers, right? So it's not like it's a hard, right? And then visually and audio cues are all over the place, so you know where he is on the map.
Right, but to add to that point, I'm thinking about that now, right? Besides the Elden Ring and like the Dark Souls battles, besides that, let's leave that out of it for a minute. But like a boss battle is supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to make you frustrated.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn the cues.
There's phases.
That's the normal thing for bosses. But I think that we've been playing all these I'll call them soft bosses for too many years. And so people expect like you to walk up and destroy a boss in like 2 seconds because you're playing a game.
Well,
as opposed to learning the boss or learning the game, right?
I think I don't know because I didn't play the harder difficulty. I don't know if the harder difficulty has more mechanics or if it's just more spongier, like you do less damage. I'm not sure. I hope going forward, because obviously there's going to be variants. It's a multiverse, right? I mean, you literally get a multiverse, like a alternate thing, and they showed like an alternate Superman and Green Lantern in the upcoming season. Okay, I hope they change the fight up, right? Little lackluster is the final boss is basically the first boss. Flash is your first boss, and Brainiac is your last boss.
Yeah,
and it's just a repeat of the first boss. So I hope they don't do that with the other characters coming in, because that will be a shitty aspect of the game if they do that.
Hard to do variations, man. Hard to do variations unless there's a hard mode.
Well, there is. There's you can go up. It's like world tiers. It's Metropolis threat levels, I think they're called. There's like 5 threat levels of endgame that you can go into, and you have to get enough.
But are the boss levels, do they scale?
I don't know. I'm not there yet, so I haven't done a boss fight yet. I'm only on Metropolis level 2, I think now.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm like one or two higher than hard difficulty right now. So I'm gonna go back and do a boss fight and see how that works. The game itself, once you're in endgame, has like an upside down triangle that I've always asked for these games, right? Like I'll do it. The best example is the latest live service game that came out was Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is the triangle where you have all this stuff to do at the bottom when you first start, right? You have the campaign, you have all the things, collect the things, and as you go up higher and higher, you get to the tip of the triangle, and it's just the Nightmare Dungeons. That was it. The Nightmare Dungeons, and that was it. In this game, what they've done is the upside down triangle, where you start the point, you do the campaign, and then as you open up the campaign, there's more missions that open up, right? So you have to unlock like Penguin's missions and Hack's missions and Gizmo's missions and Toyman's missions, and it gets wider and wider. And then when you get to the end game, you get into this finite crisis thing where there's 3 separate finite crises, and then there's like a horde mode that happens, and you go into this horde mode. It's called Killing Time, and you go into Earth 2, and you start killing things. There's a timer, and the more you kill, the timer stays. Like, you get points for the timer. If the timer runs out, then you have to extract, and if you don't extract, then you don't get anything. Like, you don't get any rewards or anything like that. So you have to like fight, and you go up mastery levels every time you go. So the more you fight, the more mastery levels you go up, and there's Killing Time, and there's Killing Time hard mode. Okay, so there's more difficulty levels to do and stuff like that. There's lots of layers to the thing if you like looters and stuff, right? Another great thing about this is it's not about the guns that you're going for. It's about the augments on the weapons. So the guns are going to drop, and they're going to have a DPS, and there's going to be that set gear that you have, right? That you can find the same weapon. It could have a higher DPS, better accuracy, all that type of stuff. But what you really want is 3 augments on your thing, and then you can re-roll those augments to get the perfect god roll that you want, sort of like you're doing in Division or whatnot, right? You're looking for the better, higher tier type of stuff to make your percentages higher and whatnot. So you can unlock
overlapping crit damage.
Yeah.
Basically what you're looking for.
Once you get your guns to, I believe it's elite, you can elite something, and once you elite something, if you don't elite a weapon, you can only change one of the augments. Okay, but if you elite a weapon, okay, you can go and change all 3 of the augments, okay? And then you can keep re-rolling them until you find ones that you like. And they're expensive because they have the end game currency that you're getting, okay? Sure. So to go back to do this, you have to do these yellow missions across the board in endgame that give you this Prometheus, I think it's called, coins. And then you take those coins, and then you go into the Finite Crisis missions to get the set gear. And there's Notorious gear, and then there's also Bane's set gear that is, okay? Set 0 to level 30, you get tier 1 Bane set gear. Tier 30 to 60, you get tier 2 Bane set gear. And then from 60 plus, you get tier 3, right? So there's lots of levels. There's mastery levels. There's finite crisis levels. There's a lot of things that you can do in the end game. Then there's leaderboards and stuff like that. Overall, as a game, it's a fun looter compared to the other looters on day 1. Destiny day 1, 3 days in, we're shooting into a cave. I know a lot of people forget this, but we were literally shooting into a cave because that was the best content there was in the game.
It was the best weekend of my life.
Right? That was it. People forget that. We were shooting into a cave to get engrams to pick them up because that was a better drop than doing the actual content in the actual game. Okay?
That's true, though.
So the starting point for this game, okay, take DC out of this, just as a looter, right? As a looter game, this is in a good standing point of comparing it to other year 1 games for endgame stuff, right? They just a lot more stuff to do, and then whatever they come in after the fact, after season 1, season 2, season 3, get to determine if it's going to be good or bad. But as a setting point, right? The game hasn't even launched. It launches in like 4 hours for everybody in the world, okay? It's got a good path at the start for a looter. Now, we're going to go into top stories because I'm going to bleed this into the Suicide Squad drama that's happening. All right. So continuing from Suicide Squad, what we've been playing, I'm going to talk about spoilers. Okay, there's some spoiler talk I'm going to talk about. If you're here and you watched me play it, you already know. If you've been on the internet in the last 48 hours, you know. If you've been on YouTube in the last 48 hours, you know. Okay, you've seen videos, you see people talking about it. So, chat, you won't hurt my feelings if you leave for a little bit and then you want to come back and watch this after the fact and just stay like 10 minutes behind or whatever. Okay. So I'm going to go. The episode today is called "The Gaming Industry Has Lost Their Mind." Okay. And that is the high-end people that are journalists, developers, all the way down to the gamers themselves. Okay. Like, there's no separation right now what's happening with Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Okay. I understand both sides. Okay. If the drama right now with DC, okay, fans, is that this game has shit all over the heroes, which are the villains in this game. I want to make that clear. Okay. The heroes are the villains in this game. There's things that happened in this game that people are upset about because it's disgraceful to what they did to the members of the Justice League. And I want to set a picture here, okay? Because take all this woke shit out, take all what's happened the last 5 years, the culture that's happening right now, just as a game. The premise of the game is you are Suicide Squad members that have to save the world against the Justice League who was saving the world. Okay, Brainiac came in, he murders 9 million people in Metropolis, right? Everyone that you're fighting, the purple guys with pimples on them, okay, are the citizens of Metropolis, and there's 9 million people that are dead. Starts off pretty bleak, okay? So you're there against your will because you are criminals taken out by Amanda Waller that puts bombs in your head, okay? And if you don't obey, she can blow your head up at any minute, which does happen if you don't listen to her, okay? So now you're in this position, okay, well, you're criminals. Why are criminals in jail? Well, the criminals are in jail because the superheroes are the ones that put them in there, right? So, obviously, the Suicide Squad doesn't give two craps about Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, nobody, okay? So the game has them corrupted, where they're taken over. They're already dead. And we know this because, spoiler chat, I told you, spoilers, okay? Even though it was in the trailer like a year ago, Wonder Woman catches Flash and has the lasso of truth around him and says, Barry, tell me how to fix this. And he says, you got to kill us. You got to kill us, right? There is no out of this. This is it. Brainiac has taken over the Justice League. They're dead. They're dead already, right? You either kill them or they take over the world, okay? So now the Suicide Squad, who you're in control of, are people that don't give a shit about humanity. They don't. They're being the characters because they're being forced because they want to live themselves without getting their heads blown off, and they have to be put up. That's why it's called Suicide Squad, because it's a suicide mission to go up against these right. And there's a story there because it's taking these characters and putting them where they don't like each other in the beginning, but they have to start liking each other because they have to be together better as a team, right? There's that hero type of story by the end of it, right? But this is not your typical heroes. These are villains that are now heroes, okay? Anti-heroes, whatever you want to call it. So now, the way the game is, it just craps all over the Justice League, per se, but that's how they would do it. Do you think that Boomerang gives two craps about Flash and wants to not hurt his feelings and not kill him? He literally wants to kill him, right? He chops off his finger, okay? And it's a running joke throughout the thing. The humor in this game is fantastic. You could watch my whole playthrough. I laugh out loud, not like like I'm laughing. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous, right? Because as a gamer, if I read a book, watch a show, play a game, right? I just want to kind of like detach from reality for a second and just have a good time, right? Yes, they're shoving stuff into our culture, which then brings up a light of stuff, and you can look into stuff, right? And I have an analogy where my lawn is beautiful, okay? But if I get down on my knees and look at my lawn, I can find problems with my lawn. But if I stay afar and just look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a nice lawn. Okay. Now I can look at my video games, and I'm not naive by what's happening in the culture and the industry. Okay. But at the same time, I don't have to shit on everything because it does something different than what I like or don't like. Okay. So now there's a culture right now. There's two sides. The people that are part of the culture war are now coming in because now it's DC. Now they're allowed to do this because they're DC fans, and they're coming in and going, hey, I don't like this. And I get this 100%, Sarge, right? Because they did this to my Star Wars. Okay, they shit on Luke Skywalker. They shit on Han Solo. They shit on Indiana Jones. They shit on the characters that I grew up with that I love, DC characters as well, right? And I totally understand where people are coming from. But at the same time, this is set in a world where it's a multiverse. Anything can happen. Right now, just judging the book by its cover, they say it's in the Arkhamverse, which it is. But we don't know if that's the Batman from this Arkhamverse or if that's a Batman's being captured somewhere, held against his will, and they're using his DNA to make these other characters to be like, right? That's just my thoughts, right? I don't know yet because I don't know the whole story, right? I know the story they just told and haven't told us yet, but it's an Elseworld. There's different dimensions. There's different things. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, you can be like, I hated 7, 8, and 9. I watched them once, and I'll never watch them again. They don't exist to me. I will not show my son those because I don't like them. I never watched Ghostbusters 2016. I never watched Indiana Jones Skull, whatever the hell is the Crystal Skull, and the Dial of Dysentery. Okay, whatever it's called. Okay, those don't exist to me because the character that I like is there. Batman has died before, 11 times minimum. Okay, in the comic books.
Superman?
No, Batman. Well, Superman also died. Is also right. So now here's the drama. So Flash, you kill Flash. Okay. Boomerang whips out his dick, not on camera, okay, and pisses on him. And they're like, this is so disrespectful. Do you see what these writers are doing? Right? And I'm like, but that's what he would do. Like, he literally hates the Flash. Like, he's in prison because of the Flash. He hates the Flash. Okay? And they make a joke about this. So, death of a superhero, right? He's already dead because Brainiac already took him over. And then Brainiac takes his dick out and pisses on him. And then Deadshot comes over and is like, whoa, dude, have some respect, right? And he's like, oh, right? And he makes a size comparison. He's like, damn. He's like, respect, right? And then Harley Quinn salutes his penis, okay? And King Shark goes, that explains a lot. Why you lack in other things in life, but you're blessed with a big dick, basically is what he says, okay? Now, sure, look at that and going, it's disgraceful, but it's a joke. It's a game. It's yes, there might be an undertone to it, but it's just a fun moment, okay? Green Lantern dies and he's got his boxers, okay, of the Green Lantern. And then people lose their mind because King Shark picks it up, okay? And I get the lore. I get what they did with Luke Skywalker. I get it. He picks up the ring and puts it on his little pinky, and he turns into the Green Lantern and then takes control. And everyone's like, glasses pushed up. They pull their pants up, like, that's not how the lantern ring works. It finds the next person, right? So I totally get that, okay? If you don't like it, don't partake. Like, you don't have to, like, press on it of the stuff that's happening. But YouTube's going to be YouTube. YouTube content creators, I am one, is going to ride the wave because if I talk good about something, I get 100 views. But if I shit on something, I get 100,000 views, right? And I'm not hating on the game. That's what YouTube is, okay? So this goes on, and then the big is Batman. Batman dies. He gets beat. Okay, you beat him. They need him to find out how to beat Superman. So you have to capture him alive, okay? But at the end, you want to kill him because they use him as bait. Harley Quinn picks him up because obviously each character has their antagonist to protagonist in the thing, right? Harley Quinn is, you killed her boyfriend, right? You killed her lover, okay? Even though Batman didn't kill, the serum killed him, whatever. But anyway, so Batman is brought to the point, and then Harley Quinn, they don't show it, but she gives a long speech, and then boom, kills him. Shoots him in the head or whatever, and that's it, right? And everyone's like, how dare you kill Kevin Conroy's last thing? And I'm like, you understand that actors take the job, right? Kevin Conroy didn't get stabbed in the back of the neck with a bomb in his head and go, you're doing the game, right? He had a choice to do the game, and he wanted to do the game. And unfortunately, he died because he had really bad cancer, okay? And that's why he died, okay? Now, obviously, they're like, well, they could have gave him a better send-off. If anyone played the actual game, you would know at the end of the credits, they give this beautiful send-off. Batman's on the screen, okay? And they give this long speech of Lois Lane actually says it inside because of Metropolis and how he stands up and thank you. And it says, thank you, Kevin, on the screen, right? I wanted to cry because it's emotional, right? Just talking about it right now, my hairs are standing up on my, right? And they didn't disrespect him. right? I'm sure Kevin Conroy wanted to do the role because it's something different. As an actor, you want to do things differently, right? You want to play a character that's different in different roles and different things. And he took this role of Batman and he became evil. And I think he had fun with it because during the whole campaign, you hear him talking in your ear, oh, watch out for this, do this, right? And he's messing with you the entire time. One of the best moments in the game is the Batman mission where you go to the Gotham Museum and it tells you all the history of all the other past games of the story of the Arkham games, okay? And it's done really well, in my opinion. But people don't see that. They just want to crap all over what it is because they are upset because they killed their Luke Skywalker. They killed whatever else, you know? So that's what the drama is about right now, right? And they already had a pre-consumption. The people that hated the game already because it was a looter shooter. And then there's the new group that comes in that doesn't play the video games, but they're upset because what they're doing to the DC brand, what they're doing to their hero. So what do you think about this, Sarge? Where do you come from as far as the gamer and then also as the fan of the IP?
That's a lot to unpack. All right, so let's talk about the culture for a moment, and not the game itself. You know, as kids, we grew up with our heroes. Now, maybe it was your father because he was in a war. Maybe it was your grandfather. Maybe it was your first comic book. But as kids, I'm not going to say everybody, but from people I knew, right? We grew up with heroes. Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern. Like, these are the people that we grew up with. And the culture back then was be somebody who can stand up for the little guy, defend people who can't defend themselves, be a better person. Right? Be the hero. Like, save the people that can't be saved. Like, that was instilled in us from a young age. Every single comic book and movie, even back then, was all about the hero's journey and how the hero is supposed to save the day, right? So when you grow up like that and you believe that good is supposed to win and that's the way it's supposed to be, when we're in a pivotal moment in culture now where not just this game, and I'm just talking about everything, you're basically shitting on everything.
Shitting on our childhood. Shitting on our childhood.
You are shitting on all the heroes that we grew up with. You tell us that we're toxic and guys don't need to do this, and this whole list of shit that we're supposed to hear about, and you destroy all our heroes. So when you have people who grew up that way or are passionate about that whole process of the hero within themselves and what motivated them because they grew up thinking that that's how you're supposed to grow up, right? When you have a group of people decide that you're going to just shit on all the heroes, they take personal offense to it, even though it's just a video game. Even though it's just a game.
Just a movie, just a book.
It's the culture telling you that everything that you knew is garbage. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So, of course, the highest of the high levels of nerds who love comics and love heroes and know all about them and know all the lore, of course, they are going to be upset. Right? Of course they are. Right? Why wouldn't you? That'd be like telling, like, someone doing like 1,000 your mom jokes to your face. You're going to have a tear in your eye after a while because stop talking about my mom. Right?
It's not real. It's not real, but
Same premise. Right? So now we have the video game. Right? Now, this is my opinion after watching a bunch of videos and people play it, not because I've played it myself. I'm just watching. Right? I get what they were going for. I thought their take on the game is done very well. It's very hard to make a game like that. It's dark, man. That game is
super dark with comedy.
That game is dark, right? But it has that humor mixed in to kind of deflate the tension situations. But if you're a guy playing that game and you're a hero, you're a lover of heroes, like that's your thing. Like it's gonna hurt you emotionally, right? Watching what happens to your heroes, right, in the game, right. But they took a chance. They took a chance of doing not just an anti-hero, but villains who have to complete the story of the hero. It's not
because they want to. It's not because they want to. It's because
they're being forced to.
They're being forced
to. Right? Now, for me, watching it, they keep comparing the way the game looks to the other Arkham games, which I don't understand, but I'll go with it.
Stylistically, it's not the same.
It's more cartoony, yes. It doesn't have the super detailed cityscapes that you saw in like Batman's original Arkham game. It's not the same type of game, right? I look at it as a verticality Borderlands game with hero IP inside of it, right? Because it's a looter shooter, right? Does that bother some people? Sure, because your expectation is the Arkham series, right? Me personally, after watching probably like 15 hours of the game, 16 hours maybe, right? The first thing to me is the fact that you can't rest. There's no resting.
No,
like you have
you're
to
constantly
keep
moving. Yeah,
you're constantly moving. So for some people,
it's
that
not a
might
cover
be-
shooter. It's not a cover shooter.
For some people, that might not be their thing, right? Because you got to constantly be moving, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I got to level up 6, 8, 10 guys, and I've got to be constantly moving, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, no, it's exhausting.
Right?
It is.
So if you don't think the outcome is going to be positive for you after 6, 8 characters trying to move around that much, then you might not be the guy for you. The game might not be for you, right? No problem, right? Same thing for me now, right? I think the sound is a little weak.
What do you mean, like the guns and stuff?
The guns and the impactfulness of the guns are a little weak for me. I'm watching it. I'm trying to see how the guns respond. Like what you're doing is it impactful. I see what they're trying to do with the effects and the camera change on your character. It looks good, right? They did nice work, but watching it, I watched it like a movie. Like you said before, if you string together all the segments, it's done like a movie.
Yeah, no, it's like God of War. It's like it's a movie game basically. Yeah.
It's done very well.
Lots of cutscenes.
But the issue about the game, and I'm going to start problems now, right? I know this is going to start problems.
Grenade.
If my defense in any kind of game is first and foremost, it's not buggy, it's not broke, and it's finished, right? That's number one.
Exactly.
Right? So this game is, so as far as I can tell, not really buggy. There's little things here.
There's a couple glitches for people here and there.
Broken,
right?
Not broken.
But it's not Cyberpunk when it came out,
and it's finished.
It's not Battlefield 2042 when it came out.
Right. So in the current state of the game journalists, right, the current state that we're in, if you can't start on the foot that the game is broken at the start, then you have to go as deep as you can to find the problems in order to make your hate stick, in order to make the articles, right? So they're trying so hard.
Goalpost moving all the time. Yeah.
They're trying so hard to hate on a game that isn't released yet, right? And I let it go. I thought Baldur's Gate 3 was just a fluke, right? I let it go, but they attacked Palworld the same way, and now they're attacking this game. I'm going to wait, let the first couple weeks go by, and let's see if the game is good or not good according to the people that play video games. Right? But what I don't like is the fact that immediately trying to destroy something that hasn't even released yet. Right? Like for me, the argument on Palworld, if they stole a bunch of shit, right? I'll agree with you. Let's say they stole a bunch of shit. If that's true, we're going to know about it right away. Nintendo's going to have a field day.
Right, but people are just making up stuff for that game now, right?
That's fine. But what I'm saying is, if they did steal shit and it's proven in a court of law that they stole a bunch of shit and Nintendo's going to run up their ass, right? Then I'll call it right. I'll say you were right. They stole it. Those bunch of bastards. They made a bunch of money and they gave it all back to Nintendo. Sad day, right? But until that day happens, nothing happened, right? They made a game that people love to play and people are playing the video game.
Right.
Next game, right? Now we're on Suicide Squad. I've never seen, right? I've never seen so much hate. It's so strange to watch because it's almost like an overreaction to something that didn't actually happen yet.
Yeah.
Like it didn't happen yet. Like so you're saying that there's this whole list of stuff why you hate it, but you haven't played it yet. And if you hated it that much, stop playing.
Right.
Why do you have so much passion for hate? It's like it doesn't make sense. why you hate something so strongly but want to keep playing it. Right. So to me, that's a facade. It's a you're trying to be negative on purpose to hurt the game. Now,
they did this for Starfield as well, right? The map's too small, hitting boundaries.
It's fine. I always say the same thing. Let the game speak for itself. Now, as far as reviews go, right?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's go to the review process.
As far as the review process goes, the same kind of hate, right? I'm in the boat where nobody is entitled to codes.
Yeah.
Nobody, right? If the development team decides to give you a code, they thank you and enjoy your fucking game. If you are a reviewer, that is your job. I have a magazine, or I have a podcast, or I have whatever. Your job is to review games. There's a segment in your profile or your job that says you review games. Great. If you review games, you don't get games for free. You go out and buy the game and review it. That's your job. We don't want any kind of coaxing or anything else because I slipped you in and I got you a title and now you got to give me a good score. Right. I don't want any of that shit, right? You're a reviewer, go buy the fucking game, right? IGN is owed nothing. Nobody is owed anything, right? They decide they want to hand out codes. That's fine, hand out codes, right? But you don't deserve a code, right? And this whole other back argument about freedom of the press and all that kind of nonsense, like, that's your job. If your job is to review a game, then go buy the game and fucking review it.
Right.
Some are good, some are bad, some are awesome, and some are just pieces of shit. But if you chose that as your profession, and part of my magazine or podcast is reviews, then go out and fucking buy the game. Period.
Yep.
Right? So until 2 weeks pass, this game's got to come out. 2 weeks have to go by. And we're going to see who plays it and who doesn't. You know what? Some people might play the game and just finish it, Mike. And you know what? Just stop playing.
Imagine that.
Right?
Yeah, imagine
play
that.
the game and just stop playing. However, if they sell the copies they want to sell,
to win,
then it doesn't matter if you don't like the game.
Right.
It's a win.
So right? I think the biggest problem I have with IGN is they went out on Twitter and said, we didn't get a code, right? And we're not getting a code, right? And for them to say, like, well, if people start asking, where's our review, right? That's why we put it out there. Yeah, but you put it out there, like, saying that you're the only one not getting a code, where nobody got a code, right? And if they did a little research, which I think they would, a lot of live service games don't give early copies because the live service games go live with the servers go live. And if I recall correctly, I don't remember Destiny going live early. They had to wait for that to go early or to go live before they could actually give reviews to that, because that's what it is. Okay. Now, what I also don't like is that reviewers out there have this preconceived notion, right? IGN did it with their review in the beginning when they did the early access thing, where because it wasn't Batman, they already went in with a negative, this is not the game I'm looking for, okay? So then everything that follows that is now predetermined of, well, it's not a Batman game, so now I'm judging it not being a Batman game instead of judging what the game is, okay? Other people did reviews, okay, and said, well, it's the game where you just shoot the purple pimples and move on, right? And that is injustice as well, because that's not what it is, and there's a reason to do certain things. Then there's people that are saying, well, this game's really hard, and I don't know how to do certain things, but if you didn't keep hitting A to fast forward and skip the cutscenes, there's little title screens. Like, you start a mission, it says, shoot critical hits only, and it shows 3 pictures, and it shows you how to get critical hits and what with. It says critical hits by shooting the head, throw a grenade, or do a super or whatever, right? And it says that, but people don't listen or read. They're like, well, there's only a thing left and I don't know what to do, right? So they don't understand how that works either, right? So a lot of the review process, a lot of the journalists, you said, okay, they're just being unfair from the start. They already have an agenda before they even do the review, okay? Yes. And to me, YouTube is cool, right? You can give your opinion, and that's awesome, right? I don't do reviews. I'll give you my opinion like I did. I enjoyed the game or whatnot. But there's a difference when you're a journalist and you're not, like, obviously there's YouTubers that pretend they're journalists, but they're not journalists. And then there's journalists that actually work for a company that you would hope there's some sort of standard. in that culture, in that realm of working for that business. And I'm not saying everyone that works for IGN or works for Kotaku or works for VGC or anybody else, but there's a standard, and they already have a bias going into not just this game, other games as well in the past, just because they didn't like it, maybe because, who knows, maybe the next WB game that comes out, maybe they do give them a code, but now they're going to give them a bad review because they didn't get a code before. I would hope not, because I would hope they would have values and stuff and be like, all right, well, you know what I mean? So I'm a little at odds end here with the way the industry is going, because obviously you as a consumer don't have to buy. We say it all the time. You don't have to buy the game on day one. Like if
well, hang on 1 second. So the way that you're speaking about it and the way that they're speaking about it is like they have to have their review in before the game comes out.
Correct.
Like, let me back up a little bit here. I know some of you are too young to understand this, but when a game came out, the game came out, and then people played it, and then they reviewed it, and then you decided if you wanted to go buy it. Like, you didn't have to get the review before the game came out in order to decide
do you remember?
whether or not you wanted to buy the game, right? The game came out, people bought it, and if you wanted to wait for a review, that was up to you to decide. I don't want to buy it right away. I'll wait for a review first, right? No. Review codes needed. I gotta get the review out before the game comes out. Otherwise, how am I supposed to get ahead? Like, that's not how this works. I don't understand where did we drop the ball here on when a review is supposed to. You don't have to buy the game day one. You can wait like a normal human being for your favorite guy to buy it and play it and see if he likes it or not, if that's who you trust, right? This whole neuroses that you must have everything beforehand.
Right away.
I have to have it. Makes no sense.
When we were kids, remember, you had to wait till Nintendo Power came out, right? And then Nintendo Power, you would have the article, and you would have like maybe a paragraph, maybe a half a page of the next game that's coming out.
If you were lucky,
correct,
they did an article on the game you liked.
Right. You were like, oh, that looks cool. Right?
Right. If you were lucky, they did a bunch of codes and things about your game, if that's the game you liked. It wasn't for every game.
Right.
Right? You guys have access to enough information to kill
so much access.
People have 16 million times over the amount of information you have, and people are bitching about not getting a review code or not. Let the game breathe, right? If you're trying to attack a game before the game comes out, ask the question on why those people are doing that. Don't just say the game sucks because they say the game sucks. Ask yourself why everybody is shitting on a game before it comes out. Like, how does that work? I thought as a community of gamers, as people who are passionate about gaming, we want all games to come out and let's see if they're good or not, and then we'll make our decision. Like, game's good, game's not good, right? Needs help, needs work, needs a patch, needs some modders. Like, but the whole hate immediately before a game comes out is very troubling to me, especially in a community of people that say that they love games, right? I'm curious to know who we're talking about now.
The problem with that, Krebsy, is this is not the first company to not give codes out, right? Starfield didn't give codes. Remember, Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, they wouldn't even show the console version of the game before they released it, right? They didn't want anyone to see that, right? So there are shitty companies that are doing things, or I should say shady companies, not shitty companies, shady companies that are doing certain things in certain ways. Now, obviously, again, we always say, look, if it's a game I'm interested in, I'll get it early because I like it, and I want to show you all that watch my channel that if it's a game that you get. I don't give reviews. If you want to come in and ask me how I like the game, I'll give you my opinions about the game, but I'm not going to say, go buy it, it's awesome, it's amazing, it's hype. I ask you, someone like, hey, should I get it? I'm like, it all depends. Do you like looter shooters? Do you like this type of game? This is what it is. If you think you have a time to put this in, then go get it. Most of the time, I tell you, I would wait. I would wait a week, 2 weeks, wait a month, wait for it to go on sale, wait for Season 1 to come out, right? You don't need any game day one, right? The only time you need a game day one is if you're playing with your buds and you're all getting together and you all want to go together and stuff like that, but then Todd kicks out early because he's like, I'm not really feeling it. And you're like, fuck you, Todd, right? And then Todd leaves, and then there's only 3 of you left. And then Ted's like, Todd left. I'm not staying in anymore. They're like, come on, Ted, you got to stay in, right? We have a raid going on. And then you're only by yourself. You're down to yourself. And then you're right. Well, with this game, you don't need Todd and Ted and Eric. You can just play by yourself with this, right? Anyway, the review process for this is kind of weird. And look, with YouTube, Twitch,
blind hate, bro.
Right, all these different places, you don't need to buy the game day one. You don't need, like Sarge said, look at what these outlets are doing. They literally shit on a game before. Now, I crap on companies, not games. Skull and Bones is coming out, okay? And I said keep your eye on that because I wouldn't get it day one. It's been in development for like 10 years. It's been resetted 4 times, okay?
Obligation game.
I'm not saying the game's bad. I'm just saying the game's not going to be good when it comes out, and you should be weary of that. Watch reviews, watch stuff like that. I don't say, fucking worst game ever. You got to shit on this thing as far... Like, just... I try to save you money. I try to make sure that people are educated enough to go, okay, this is the type of game I'm interested in. Like, they're trying to hit the bells and whistles and the nostalgia, Black Flag. They're trying to bring you in for that. It's not Black Flag, right? But I never shit on a game for hating on the game. I try the game. We play the game, right? I played Skull and Bones, and for the demo, paid 4.5 hours. I don't need to play anymore. I know what type of game it is. Okay, it is what it is. And Suicide Squad, it's not for everybody. Not every game is meant for everybody. But the journalists and everything is just blind hate. And like I said before, YouTube's going to be YouTube. You're going to have people that make videos and shit on it because it gets 10 times more views than if you're like, hey, this is a good game. I like it. Because you get one video out of that. One video if you like a game. Because to put other videos, you have to do what I'm doing. You got to put time in and make videos about the topic of the stuff, where if it's a good game, it's, this game's good, go buy it. And then they move on to the next one, and then they make 10 videos of why this game's bad, why you shouldn't buy this game, why they fucked up something, why the culture's like this, because that's the YouTube game. And I'm not hating the YouTube game. That's just the way it is. So let's go to Palworld now. Palworld is being pushed out, where it sold 19 million copies. 19 million copies, Sarge. 7 million copies. Okay, 7 million copies over on, it's the Palworld scaled up as one of the all-time biggest Game Pass launches of all time. 7 million copies on Game Pass. And then you have 11 million, okay, or 12 million copies on Steam, okay, which is insane. This game, people are upset about, just like they were upset about Baldur's Gate 3. They're like, you can't expect this. This game is, you can't expect the industry to do what these guys are doing. And Lorien Studios is like, yeah, it's $70, and you get the deluxe edition, $80. Anyone can get it. Did you get your copy yet, Sarge?
Nope.
All right, we got to look it up. So there's like, Palworld is $30. $30 early access, okay? And it's a fun game. Here's the thing. Suicide Squad is a fun game. Palworld is a fun game. Like, it's crazy. Baldur's Gate 3, fun game. All these games that are fun are all be like, oh, don't you play those games. We don't want you to play those fun games. We want you to play these games over here, right? The non-fun games, right? It makes no sense to me, right? So 19 million copies. This company,
that shows you the population of the people who wanted an actual Pokemon game. people who are still looking for that type of game.
Right,
people, man.
Well, it's funny.
A lot of people.
It's funny, D-Money. Everyone is like, well, this is the worst game, right? It's barely a game. Some articles said, but yet it sold 19 million. That's jealousy talking. That is not right.
Yeah.
If a person writes an article and says this game shouldn't be selling what it is, that's jealousy because they worked their ass off for 8 years making a game and it comes out and it bombed. And then these guys come out, worked on a game for whatever time, and they're like, yeah, here you go. Have a fun game. It's not even out yet. It's early access. And everyone's like, they're like melting in the brain.
If you say that the game is dog shit, but it sells 19 million copies, those are the people I write down. I write down those journalists' names. I have a list over here in the corner. I write them down. And I see what other kind of bullshit they try to come up with. Think of what kind of delusion you must have, where a game that's been out for a little over, was it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
It was a week, right? 2 weeks, sells 19 million copies, and you have the balls to write an article that the game's no good. Even if you're correct, right? It's a successful game. See, they're convoluting two different things. You don't like the game for what it is. That's cool.
Right.
But the game sold what a game is supposed to sell. Like, if it's on fire, the game's fire. It's 19 million copies. Like, yeah, that's a good game, right? Even if even the 2 Pokemon games that Nintendo came out with
sold 23 million copies.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Those games were garbage. So broken and buggy but they still sold 20 million copies. Just like Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Same deal. Broke
when it came
day
out.
one, and for 3 years broke. Still, guys still bought it. Still a good game, right? Because you don't care, right? So where do you have the balls to call yourself a journalist and say that the game is no good, 19 million copies? Like, your credibility is destroyed as a journalist. You don't even know what you're talking about at this point. The game hasn't come out.
I bet, though, his article got a lot of clicks.
But that's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem. The problem is it's hate baiting. That's all it is. All it is. Right?
Yeah, the Pokemon games were they're terrible. Pokemon fans hated them. I don't know anything about Pokemon, right? I only read the stories what I know. Okay. It was broke, buggy, unfinished, uneventful. It was just bad. Sold 23.5 million copies.
Because it's the only
right?
Pokemon game
now.
there is.
Now this game comes out on Steam and Xbox, and people are like, "It's a crap game. Shouldn't we play it? It's fun. Everyone's having fun with it." And everyone's like, "Terrible game. 19 million copies." Right? Now there's a difference between what Palworld's doing and what Pokemon did, because Pokemon came out broke, buggy, and unfinished, and Palworld came out in early access and it's fixing it as it goes. $30, right? Not a full price game. So it's very. I don't know what's happening to the industry. I don't. And people, we've been infiltrated, Sarge. Okay, we've been infiltrated because the culture is now bleeding into just we played games to get away from real life, right?
And now they're trying to pour the real life directly into my game.
Right. We played games to get away from politics, to get away from culture, get away from all this shit, and now it's infiltrated into the exact thing we got. Right. So now we gotta find a new hobby to get away from it, but you can't. Infiltrated everything. Right? And now people are blurring the lines on what game is actually bad and what game is actually good because they have an agenda to push or a culture war to fight, and it's just so frustrating at times.
I'm paying attention a little bit more now, especially after the Suicide Squad fiasco. Baldur's Gate 3 was one. Palworld come out.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate 3 was on the shits list because it was doing things that the industry didn't want them to do. Right? Make a game.
No, it doesn't matter.
Right?
No, I get it.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is I'm paying attention now on which magazines, which podcasts, which guys are towing the line for saying that the games are just like, have the facts ready for the game is bad. Like the day before, cut print, we're done. We all know about it. The story came out, it was a scam, right? Good. Justice served, right? But for games that do well and you're just trying to shit on them, it's weird, man.
Right.
Because you're trying to influence the people that actually like the game and try to make them feel bad that they like the game. Like, I get you're trying to do clicks, man, but it's weird. It's weird to not praise the guys who are doing well making a video game.
Well, what I love best is the backwards compliment that people are not the compliment. People are like, well, if you like the game, it's cool to like the game, but then they're like, but it's a shit game. Well, you can't say, well, if you like the game, you like the game, but it's a shit game. That's your opinion. It's a shit game. It's just a game that you don't like, right? You can't tell me like, I'm shitting on the game. If you like it, it's okay, but it's a shit game. It's like, well, that means you don't think I should play it, right? And then people, look, I don't give a shit what anyone says. I'm going to play what I play, like what I like. If you don't like what I like, that's okay, because you're not eating the same thing I'm eating, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Next story. Xbox fiscal year 24 quarter 2 gaming revenue up 49% year over year, driven by the impact of Activision Blizzard acquisition. Okay. So Microsoft share is financial results of the quarter 2 ending on December 31st, 2023. Gaming revenue is up 49% year over year, and Xbox content and service revenue is up 61% year over year, and hardware is up 3% year over year.
Okay. Keep those lights on.
Yep. Yeah.
They're not making money, bro. You hear this all the time, right?
Well, no,
you hear
Microsoft,
this all the time.
Well, Microsoft became the most successful company in the world right now, and then Apple will probably surpass them, and they'll go back and forth. But didn't you hear, Sarge? Microsoft is folding. They're out. They're not going to make consoles anymore. They're any day now. Like Xbox was going to have all their games over on PlayStation. Wait for PlayStation State of Play. They're going to show some games over there. Like every time something appears, they just keep moving until it happens. It's like the guy outside, the world's ending. and he's crazy until the day comes, and he's like, "See, nobody listened. Nobody listened."
The only thing I'm really concerned about is that the sheer number of layoffs for the companies, these small studios that are within these
1,900, 1,900 people right now have lost their job. We talked about that last week. Yep.
But what I don't have the proof yet. I'm doing the research. I don't have the proof yet. But I'm going along with the theory that I think a lot of these companies, based on what they're promising that they're trying to do, that they're bloated. A lot of these companies are bloated, right?
Of course.
You see some of these studios. And I'm not talking about the buyout ones either. I'm not talking about the like Activision Vision got bought out, and then like 6 months later, a bunch of people got fired. Like that's going to happen, right? I'm talking about studios that have been the same studio for X number of years. Too many games flopped, or they cancel the game in mid-production, and then they had to let people go. Like, I get it, right? The time frame for you to hang on to the amount of money that you need in order to make a game, that 3 to 5 years, that 3 to 5 year period, it's a lot of money. But I do think that because of the current situation in the industry, and because of all the shifting around, I think a lot of these companies are bloated. I think they're trying to pump out games fast, and so they hire more people, and then they don't hit the number they want to hit because they have to get this game out at a specific date, right? The game's got to cook. The cookie's got to cook. The steak's got to cook. Whatever it is you think you're going to enjoy, it's got to cook.
Right. It doesn't taste good if it's not cooked.
But they don't want to wait the full time. They want to microwave everything, and they can't microwave it, right? One of the ones that bothered me the most is that when I caught the article, when they talked about who I'm blanking now. Who was it that did New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas? It wasn't
Obsidian.
Bethesda.
Obsidian.
Thank you, Obsidian, right? I watched the article about them building that game, and they said that they only had, and I'm not lying about this, they only had 18 months to do that game.
It's one of the best Fallout games. It was buggy as shit, but it's one of the best stories that they've done in the Fallout series.
But I take from that I don't think that every game follows that 3 to 5 year period thing that we talk about. The big ones probably do, but the rest of them don't. Like the rest of them probably have a set time frame. But I truly believe, by what is happening right now, that a lot of these companies they're just bloated. Right, they got too many people not doing anything, and it's not working out, man. And they, in their mind, they think that these games as service is going to carry them, and that way they can have more people on staff because this influx of income that comes in between the periods of time where they're trying to make the game, and it is not working. And they borrowed all this money, right? When they had 0% loans, they borrowed all this money, and now that the interest rates have come up, they can't borrow their way out of it anymore. And so a serious adjustment is being had in the industry, not just because of the acquisitions, but because the money's not free anymore. And unless you got a game on target and you're actually making a product, like, I'm sorry to say this, but the product is what makes the money, not the microtransactions in the product that makes you the money. The product is the game. Right. Well, the extra is your MTX.
Well, you're looking at games like Palworld. I think it cost $6.5 million or something like that. It's less than $10 million, right? I think it was less than $10 million to make that, and now it's sold 19 million copies at $30 a pop, right?
Nope.
So
but it's fun,
right? Then you look at certain other games that have come out that are broke, buggy, unfinished. I personally think games that take 5 to 7 years are coming out at 3 to 4 years, and they push them out, like you said, undercooked. Right. And then, like, whatever it is, like Cyberpunk, if it took 9 years, they released it at 7, and then they took the next 2 years to fix it. But they got all that money up front for the uncooked thing. And then they make the money, and then the goodwill comes back like that. Right. And I think the industry, we read articles over a year ago talking about industry leaders were saying that the video game industry is going to crash, and the video game AAA titles are going to hit a wall. And I think we're starting to see that because, one, the rumor of when the Insomniac thing happened, where Spider-Man's coming out, Spider-Man 3 is going to come out, and it's going to be 3 separate parts. We don't know if that's happening, but if it does happen, they have to look at it. If it cost them $315 million to make that game, but now they can sell it 3 times because year after year for $50 or $60, whatever it is, then if that's the way they have to do it, that's basically almost like a live service game if you think about it, right? Because what's the difference between Destiny releasing the game and then charging for DLC for the next couple years, and Spider-Man coming out story, maybe 8 hours, 10 hours long, and then all of a sudden they do the next $50 expansion or standalone game that continues the story. They have to find different ways to do those AAA games, or they got to start adjusting and making games like Palworld, or making lower tier games that mid range. Right? Everyone makes fun of Xbox making Redfall type of games, but I guarantee you, Redfall didn't cost $300 million. It cost $115 million, and they probably will make their money back on that.
Well,
sure,
but if Redfall was done well, it would have did fine. But instead, they were trying to just push crap down the hole, man. That's not every game has to be triple. The term AAA has a definition to it, but not every game has to be like this blockbuster game. All you have to do is make a game that people want to play that's fun, and you make profit. You can make the next game. Like everybody wants to make Destiny, or everybody wants to make the next Spider-Man. Like everybody doesn't get to make that kind of game, right? Well, and if you do, it's because you've saved up enough money over the other titles of product that you have made to make an attempt to make this type of game.
Right.
Not to like pick up the dice, throw it on the line, and say, "Come on, 7!" Like you want to make a live service game and you think you're going to win. Like that's not how this works. You see how people are.
Well, and you also have to look at what the trend is, right? Whatever's happening now, like we're going to get a bunch of extraction shooters in the next couple of years. Right? Because when one extraction shooter came out, it was making money. Now everyone else is like making an extraction shooter. Well, by the time those games come out, it shifted again. Right? It shifted. Yeah. So they're not going to make it again, right? So I don't know. I look at certain games that are hitting right now and games that are not hitting right now, and you look at the difference. Like if Suicide Squad came out 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Marvel's Avengers, because it was supposed to come out when Marvel's Avengers came out, we would maybe have a different story. Maybe we would have had an Overwatch Battleborn sequel, right, against Marvel Avengers and Suicide Squad.
What's the new one that just came out? The survival game that just came out. The new one.
Enshrouded?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so
that's early access as well. So it's not technically out yet. Yeah.
All these games are I watch them, they're decent, right? But once again, you're talking about people's time, right? If I have to play this game for 20 some odd hours and the game's not finished yet, it just takes 20 some odd hours for me to get a decent base going or whatever else. Like you're dividing up people's time. Like everybody can't be the winner.
Right.
Right. These peak numbers you're getting for certain games, you'll notice how some games peak on certain times of the month or certain times of the thing, depending if the DLC comes out or not. It's because they're playing something else. Right? If you want to make money as a development team, you can't make a game that every game you make is live service. That's why when Ubisoft said every game we're going to make is live service, like good luck. Like good luck every game you make is in live service. Like people want to play a game and you finish it, or you play a game and you put it down, and then like when new content comes out,
pick it up.
aka DLC, right? And I pay for it, and you got something else to play. It makes more sense, right? But this constant need to have like everybody playing every game, that's not sustainable. Not at the price point you're talking about, and not at the time period that people have. We just don't have it. You don't have it.
Yeah,
I don't see how they all survive. Right? There's a lot of people being fired, bro. A lot.
This is why a lot of games are doing the early access, like Suicide Squad, because $100 for the pre-order, 4 days, 3 days early access, whatever it was. So if less people buy the game, but more people bought the pre-order edition up front, they make that extra $30 off of that. So if less people buy on the back end, every 2 people that bought the deluxe edition covers a copy, of down the road type of thing. You know what I mean? Because it's $70. They're charging $100, so you get an extra $30. And if you buy a battle pass for the year, right, every season, that's an extra $40, right? So you paid $30 to get the extra early access, and then you paid $40 if you pay for each of the battle passes throughout the year. So they made another $70 off that. That's another copy sold.
The proof for I don't want to go back and forth, but the proof in the pudding for Suicide Squad is after the first 2 weeks we'll know.
Yeah, and I think
because after everyone actually plays the game, like the story portion, you'll know at that point. We'll see afterwards whether or not they stay or don't stay.
But they even said you don't have to stay. They literally said this in one of their dev diaries. They said play the game. You can put it down and come back 6 months later. Is what they said.
I'm not saying they have to. What I'm saying is, for the crazy people that are screaming off the top of the rooftop,
sure.
Right? Let the first 2 weeks pass. We'll see how many people are still playing. Is it addictive enough to want to keep playing and level up the characters? Does the content that comes out keep people interested? Is the game loop good? Right? And in a looter shooter, that's everything.
Right.
If it's addictive, yes, it's got to be a fun game loop. if the weapons are cool, like when I watched you play, right, a lot of the weapons that you were picking up and you were reading through the powers and abilities, it just kept bringing back memories of Borderlands 2,
Yeah.
like the whacked out grenade and the other type of gun, like and the synergies between weapons and element types. Like we get it, It's a looter shooter, but is it sustainable? That's it, right? If enough people listen, if you get Palworld numbers that play it and then don't play it anymore, they're fine.
Right, because they made the sales all up front. Right, that's all that matters, really. The numbers of sales you do up front. All right, let's talk about the next story. EA CEO talks about how new platforms impact the company after being asked about Switch 2. He says new hardware impacts EA's release positively, allowing the best gaming experience possible. The more powerful Nintendo console could improve the relationship with the third-party publishers like EA. And if that's complete with Sony and Microsoft, the next Switch could become a viable alternative for playing popular third-party games, right? So basically, look, it's good when new hardware comes out, and if the Switch 2 comes out and it's up to par with, like, maybe not this console generation, but EA can make better graphics and Call of Duty can make better graphics and it's more powerful for the Switch, it is a good alternative for people to go, you know what? Because right now, if you get a third-party game, you're not getting it on the Switch unless you only own a Switch. If you own a Switch and something else, you're getting that third-party game for something else, unless you really want to play that game on the road if you're a traveler. But for the most part, Hogwarts Legacy comes out. If you own a Switch and you own a PlayStation, or you own a Switch and you own an Xbox, you're not getting it for the Switch, right? You're getting it for the other one, and you'll buy a second copy for the thing. What they're saying is that when the Switch 2 comes out, right, EA could probably, where people will buy that game for the Switch and the Switch alone.
Yeah, but what kind of power would the Switch 2 have to make you actually want to buy it?
I mean, for me,
I think the only issue with Nintendo is they found a good thing, and it's hard to want to have to rebuy and do everything all over again if it fits the bill. Everyone likes where it is. Isn't everybody happy with their Switch? Everybody who has a Switch is pretty much happy with it, right? They're not looking for the Switch Pro, right? Because everything works on the Switch that they want to play, correct?
Yeah. I mean, they could update the screen and whatever else. I wouldn't buy a new Switch. The only way I'm buying a Switch 2, the only way I'm buying a Switch 2 is 3-4 years into the cycle, and my Switch 1 is broke, or they come out with some really cool first-party title games. But I will never buy well, I don't buy Madden Football anyway, but I would never buy an EA game to play exclusively on the Switch. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. Chat, I don't know about you guys. Would you guys buy a Switch 2 if the graphics were better? And would you, instead of buying that next third-party game on your PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or Series S or PC, are you going to get it for Switch 2? I don't know.
I mean, I understand what the EA guy is talking about, but we're in a real sketchy time now about having to buy new hardware, right? And because we got burned almost twice now, how you expected us to believe that the console that we had is the ultimate experience for gaming, and yet we really still don't have maybe one or two games ever that are using the power of the consoles that we currently have.
Right.
And it seems strange that you'd be talking about trying to drum up new sales with new hardware when you haven't made the games for the hardware that we currently have, and we're still waiting for you to make games for the hardware that we currently have. And I mean for both PlayStation and Xbox. There's a couple games on PlayStation for sure. They're pushing the limits. That belongs on that kind of system. But Xbox, I think to this day, I don't think they had one game that shows the power of the X Series X. Why do I have this?
Yeah, I think if it's a first-party game, sure. Switch 2 all day. Give me Mario. Give me a first-party title games they make. Third-party game, Switch is the last console I'm thinking about. Right? Outlaws coming out. I'm not going, oh yeah, Star Wars Outlaws.
I'm not thinking about a Switch.
I'm getting that for Switch 2. That's not happening.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm confused on what he believes. What kind of pull he's going to get for just releasing new hardware to try to get?
Well, with EA, I can understand the Madden games, FIFA games. They probably would do well, and for EA, that's more people that could play their games and get those microtransactions. So I understand where Android Wilson's coming from. Let's go to the next thing. The PlayStation State of Play was yesterday. I didn't watch it, and here, unlike the media chat, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, I'm not excited because I don't own a PlayStation 5, right? So I saw some stories about stuff. Kojima is like praised by Jeff Keighley and everybody else. I saw the Death Stranding trailer, extended version of it, and you know what? I still don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm sure it's a great game, but it didn't interest me. Okay, but the FedEx simulator that you can get from the first one to the second one, it's coming out. It looks crazy, like crazy good looking, and it crazy. Like Kojima's like, his brain's just like, woo, right? Like no one ever tells him no. Can I just say that? He's like, he comes off with the most batshit crazy things, and everyone's like, that's good. Yeah, go ahead, do that. Right? Yeah, Nobody ever tells him no.
I don't believe anybody in his circles probably tells him anything.
Yeah, he this is what he said when he pitched this. He's like, I'm gonna make a guy who just walks across stuff. He's gonna have it's gonna be a social game where you're a FedEx guy delivering packages in a post-apocalyptic type of world in a dream world state, and you're gonna carry this baby around in the thing. And they're like, yeah, go ahead and do that. They're like, what? Meanwhile, Palworld is like, we're gonna make a game like Pokemon. I don't know about that. I don't think it's gonna sell, right? Like it's crazy to me. So Kojima's coming out with Death Stranding 2, and it looks crazy.
What was the big game from the PlayStation Direct?
That's the big one. Death Stranding 2.
The big one with the Kojima game?
That was like a 15-minute long extravaganza of showing so much footage of it. Yeah.
All right, so
they had other ones.
If I leave Kojima out of it, what's the big one?
Well, I don't know the next big one. They have a deep dive Team Ninja Rise of Ronin. This actually looked pretty good. Rise of Ronin looked actually pretty good.
That one I did see, but not on the Direct. I did see that though.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, between Rise of Ronin and Ghost of Tsushima, I think I'm more of a Ghost of Tsushima guy. Okay, so I'm excited because Ghost of Tsushima is supposedly coming out on PC later this year, so I might pick it up and play it on PC. But the Rise of Ronin looked actually pretty good. Okay. Until Dawn remastered coming to PlayStation 5 and PC this year. Okay, not a big fan of the Until Dawn stuff.
Now, are these games coming out this year? Is my question.
Any
of these games coming out this year?
I don't know if they had release dates. Chat, did they have Rise of Ronin is out on March 22nd. So there you go, March 22nd. Until Dawn, it doesn't say. The next game, which actually looks pretty good. I'm kind of sad I don't have a PlayStation, is Stellar Blade. Now, Stellar Blade, okay, I mean, the reason that this game's getting hit, they literally had a shot of the girl's ass just right on the screen. Like, I was like, they know what they're doing, right? They know what they're doing. Stellar Blade looked really good, though. Besides her ass, the actual fighting and stuff, the game looks badass. It looks really cool. Okay, so that looks very exciting for Stellar Blade. And that says it's coming on April 26, 2024. Then they had Capcom shares another Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer, which comes out March 22nd as well. Dragon Dogma 2 looks fantastic, but it's one of those games like a Baldur's Gate 3 where I just don't have the time to put into that type of game. And I want to play Dragon Dogma 1, but I don't have time to put that in. So it's like this game, unfortunately for myself...
The clock is the clock.
Unfortunately for myself, this goes on the back burner, and maybe I'll get it down the line when it's on sale. Yep. But that game looks very impressive as well. They also showed Sonic X Shadow Generations, another Sonic game. This game looks much better than the Sonic Frontiers. Okay, looks much better than the Sonic Frontiers. Obviously, it's not the same type of game as Sonic Frontiers, but Sonic times Shadow Generations, it looks pretty good. It looks like a Sonic game. Let's see. 30 PC version is 30 frames per second. For what game? Gaming Fire? I know Dogma is multiplayer. I just don't have the time to play it. Silent Hill, the short message is dropping later today, which was yesterday. It's like a short game or whatever. It's like a demo, I guess. Reveals a short message, a free-to-play Silent Hill spin-off that will be available to play later today. Konami also shared a new trailer of Silent Hill 2 remake project, but no release date or window was given. So they're making Silent Hill 2 remake, but they just had a thing. Another game was called Judas. Kind of weird. Judas is the next game from Ken Levine, creator of BioShock. Okay, definitely resembles the original work. So it looks cool. Like I said, it looks kind of weird. V Rising, which came out like 2 years ago on PC.
Do you remember how popular BioShock was? BioShock
Oh, yeah.
was incredible.
Yeah.
Because nobody back then really did like a underwater thing that way.
Yeah, no, it was a cool story. Just how you could choose if you take the girl or give it to the bad guy or whatever. V Rising came out 2 years ago. This is like that vampire survival. It's coming over to PlayStation. This is a weird one. Dave the Diver is coming to PlayStation, and they had a Godzilla announcement trailer. Like Godzilla is inside Dave the Diver. It says Dave the Diver was surprise of hit of 2023, and today we learned that the game is coming to PlayStation this April. Plus, we learned Godzilla is also coming to Dave the Diver in May of 2024. So we have Godzilla coming. Then they had a thing called Zenless Zone Zero, which I actually was pretty interested in. And then I was saddened because it was only on PlayStation 5. I was like, is that coming to PC? But we don't know much about it. We know nothing about it. They just showed a little bit of it, and then it says, it's in development for PlayStation 5, which doesn't say it's not in development for PC. It just says in development for PlayStation 5. They showed Metroid Awakening VR trailer. This actually looked pretty good. They showed Legendary Tales are revealed for PlayStation VR 2. This didn't look as impressive, but as a person that plays VR now, the graphics don't look the best. But I know if you put that VR headset on and you're playing that game within that graphics or not, it's more surreal when you're in it, and it feels like a better game regardless. I did my example of that coffee game I was playing with cardboard cutouts, and you're like a barista and stuff like that. Like it's a piece of cardboard in front of you in the virtual world, but you're like a barista, and it felt cool, right? So obviously, when you have the headset on, it's a much different feeling than it is if you just look at what they're trying to pitch you. So it doesn't look very good, Legendary Tales, but at the same time, I can see that it'd probably be pretty fun. New Foam Stars trailer. People are like hyping up this game. Okay, I don't get it. I don't know if it's
so this one's okay, but Palworld's a problem.
Yeah,
the game that copies Splatoon is completely fine.
Well, it's
but
not
the game
Splatoon,
that copies Pokemon
Sarge. It's adults now, and they're shooting foam instead of paint.
It's a foam party. I got you.
Yeah. So look, not my type of game. I'm sure people will love this type of game, but it doesn't get me excited in any way, shape, or form. And I love women in foam, right? So, but this one,
I've had my day of foam parties.
I've been to Fort Lauderdale and some parties and stuff like that. I get it. The one I'm interested in that's coming on PC is Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, they showed more of a trailer. This feels like it's going to be like a Starship Troopers type of game. It's a $40 game or $50 game. I forget what it is. It's like a $40 or $50 game. Yeah.
PC only?
It's PlayStation and PC.
Okay.
It looks interesting. I'll probably pick it up. It comes out February 8th. I don't know if I'll pick it up right away. I think I might wait to get it because I'm probably still going to be playing Suicide Squad when that comes out. So Helldivers 2 looks actually pretty good. And I think there was one more game, wasn't there? Or is that it? Yeah, so Helldivers 2. So that's the state of play. I think as a non-PlayStation owner, I think they showed a lot of games, and there's a lot of stuff there. A lot of that stuff, though, I believe is third-party games as well, so it doesn't really matter if you're on PlayStation or Xbox. But
I don't care if it's third-party, and I care if the game's good.
Right. And there's a lot of games there. I think The Rise of Ronin looks pretty good. I think Zenless Zone Zero has me interested. Helldivers 2 we know a lot about, and we'll know more about it in just the next week or so. I think it comes out this time next week, because it comes out the 8th. We're on the 1st, yeah. So next Thursday, Helldivers 2 will be out. And I'm sure Foam Stars will be very popular because who doesn't like that type of stuff? Not me, but
I mean, I thought Splatoon was fun.
I played it. It was fun for a very short time. It's just a fun little game. But it's not. I'm not in that clientele, right? It's not meant for me.
Nope.
Let's see. Speaking of Helldivers, Starship Troopers has an update. The new Vanguard class revamp and design diary. The new Trooper Vanguard, the launch of Starship Troopers Extermination, will include 6 Trooper classes now. If you didn't catch the announcement, we revealed them here. Each class will bring a new arsenal, and we can also curate progression tracks, including new weapons, utilities, and perks. Launch 0.7.0 is just at the beginning, and we plan to add more classes advancement levels on regular cadence post 1.0. So they're adding 3 new classes, so there's 6 classes total. There's going to be more gameplay variants. There's going to be new verse revamp. So they're going to be revamping a couple things. This game's in early access still. It's going to be supposedly coming out this year sometime for consoles. Maybe it comes out in 2025. So obviously they're making releases out and they're announcing them. Why? Because Helldivers 2 is coming out. So they gotta compete because, I mean, why not? So we might go back and check that out. And I had a lot of fun with Starship Troopers, obviously because of the nostalgia berries of just Starship Troopers. So that's that. Rumor, new PlayStation handheld is in development. Do you care, Sarge?
Say it again. Say it one more time.
New PlayStation handheld in development.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I think the handheld thing is very small group of people who want another handheld. Right? If you want a handheld, I think between your phone and having to hook up your controller to your phone. I mean, I don't know what we're doing with handhelds. I get it. I get it, but at the same time, I just don't.
Here's the funny part. If they're making a handheld, okay, the people were just defending the Portal just a couple of months ago when they said the Portal's coming out and it's going to have online access and then it's a handheld device that you can take with you. And if that's the case, then why are they developing a standalone handheld? Because that seems a little bit weird. That seems a little weird, doesn't it?
Well, they always want proprietary software, right? That's what they want.
And then if they do make a handheld, is it going to be less graphical than the other one? Am I playing on the cloud? What am I doing with this handheld? Is it just you know what I mean? Look, I understand that Sony has to make more peripherals. Look, they're the Nintendo of 1984, right? They had the robot, the gun, the glove, the thing, right? They had to make a lot of stuff to make the money that they're making, and that's what Sony's doing now with the Portal, the controllers, the VR. They're making all these different peripherals because that's how they make their money. They make it on the hardware.
If PlayStation finds a way to make you have your entire library on the go, that type of handheld, then we can talk.
Well, the problem that Sony has is they're capping out their saturation points like 155, 200. And
I get it.
So they got to resell stuff to the same people that are already buying stuff, right? So if you have 150 million people that have your PlayStation devices, you call it with a VR headset, you're selling that to them because they need a PlayStation 5 to get the VR headset. If you get the Portal, you're selling to that 155 million because they have the PlayStation, you need the PlayStation to get the Portal. And now with this, it kind of opens it up more if they're having a handheld device because you don't need a PlayStation to have the handheld. So they have to, I would think, come out with a handheld that actually gets out to more people. Because Nintendo's running away with that market. Right?
I know. I would think that they would need to just find some way of letting people have their library wherever they want and try and charge for the servers to do so. And I wouldn't need to have an actual PlayStation, but I sign up for like PlayStation service. And I could play like all the PlayStation games like on a PC or a handheld, or like you have to give me the convenience of being able to do it wherever, right? That's the whole game. If you want a mobile PlayStation, then it has to be as powerful and be able to move. So your option one is cloud based, or you're gonna have a badass handheld.
Right.
But does Sony really want to go and jump into that pool with Nintendo?
I don't know. I mean, they need someone to compete with, right?
Right.
If the console war is over, then you got to make a new console to go against the other person that has a console, so you can have a console war.
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of a weird. Yeah, the PSP was great, Rose. The PSP was fantastic. Yeah,
there's been some great handhelds over the years, but it doesn't mean that every time now you have to come out with another handheld. I mean, it doesn't make sense in this environment where we're so close to cloud gaming working proper, and we can use our own phone and a controller and cloud-based to do whatever we want on whatever system we want. Like, we're so close to that, and now you want to start over again and make another handheld with a bunch of a new library of titles. It just seems strange.
Right. Well, Chapter 8, I think it'd be weird, though, wouldn't it? Because, again, I'm not saying the masses were saying it, but they said that Portal was going to be that handheld device that you could play, right? People were defending it. They're like, well, it's going to get phone access and you can play games anywhere you want. And if they come out with this and it's separate, right? Because the Portal plays your games from your PlayStation as long as you're on Wi-Fi, where the handheld would be a standalone, buy your games separate. I don't think it would be approaching on otherwise. Then why would you? I would be pissed if I was a PlayStation owner, that you told me the Portal was for the PlayStation. Now you come out with another handheld that also attaches to that where I can play my games. I don't think they'll do that. I think you would have to buy all your stuff over again.
That would just be weird.
But I think that's what they would do. Why? They did it in the past. Now, here's the difference, though, right? Back when the PSP was out, there wasn't that many handhelds. Now everyone has a goddamn handheld.
Yep.
Right? And not only does everyone have a handheld, but there's a lot of PC companies that have handheld PCs where you're playing, like, you have the Steam Deck, you have the, is it AOG or ROG? I forget what the ROG, I think it's a ROG, right? Whatever it's called. Right? Then you have another one coming in the market. There's like 3 or 4 different handheld computers that play all your Steam games and all the other games. Then you have Apple, right, where you can play Game Pass games on your iPhones and the Android devices. And now you have the Switch, and now PlayStation's like, hey, let's throw another one in there, right? So you have lots of different handhelds. We'll see how that market turns out. Portal and the new Rumor Portal have different ULA agreements. It's still kind of weird that everyone's like, oh yeah, you can play all your PlayStation games, and then now all of a sudden they come out with a different handheld. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. Let's see. The Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy is finally getting updates and new features in 2024. Now, we don't know much about what's coming out, but it's kind of weird that they had a deal with Sony for that standalone mission. And now that's coming up, but it's not coming out in February. It's coming out later this year, so it's past a year that it's coming out. But I said I had a video over a year ago saying that they weren't going to announce any kind of DLC until all the stuff came out. And I said that the Switch will probably get delayed more. And this was January, February last year I made this video. It did get delayed back to November. Now the Switch is out, the version's out, everything's out. Now we're at the year anniversary coming up, and Hogwarts Legacy's mission opens up. It gets away from PlayStation, and I think now they're going to announce something DLC-wise. Now, do you think, Sarge, again, this is just speculation. This doesn't mean it's happening. Do you think Hogwarts Legacy has something planned where they keep this game? Do they kind of make it... I'm trying to think of another game. Grand Theft Auto Online, right? Do we think Hogwarts Legacy does... I don't want to say an online version type of thing, but do we think they add some sort of game mode or something to keep the people coming back into Hogwarts Legacy? Or is it just story missions type of stuff?
Well, I think if you're a Potter fan, because of the detail they put into that game, that the school itself and whatnot, I think the only way you can expand on that game, if you're going to do a DLC, is if you did, like, you go to the other school. Like, you go to the all-girls school one, and you go through their entire thing, and you learn all about that school that's in, like, Scandinavia somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone, you know all about Hogwarts itself. When you play Hogwarts Legacy, you know everything about it. You're all over the map. You're everywhere. But, like, to continue playing on the same map, like,
right.
What's new?
Add story. You can add story content.
I mean, you could, but I'm saying as a first DLC, as a first thing to do, put me in either the Russian school, all those aggro guys, or
come to America,
or the all female school, and, like, go through their whole thing, learn about all their school, what their thing looks like, right? And along with that, you get Quidditch. Like, you get that plus Quidditch. Like, that would be, like, the best DLC possible for Hogwarts Legacy. Whatever the name. I don't even remember. Like, I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
I got you.
I don't know the name of the all female school. I don't remember what it's called. But, like, that plus Quidditch, I think that'd be a done deal, right?
Yeah. The chapter 8 says they'll be idiots not to take their existing assets and maps to make Hogwarts online, but a separate game. I think they could do both, right? I personally think they should. Again, this doesn't mean they're doing it. I would, instead of selling Hogwarts 2 and waiting 5 to 7 years, I think it would be better for them financially because they already have the assets for the thing, and then you can just make another and add it onto it and sell DLC and just keep it so it's like Hogwarts, and then you can play Hogwarts and you can travel to the other location and have that type of map, sort of like a Destiny, sort of like if Grand Theft Auto Online does that with Vice City or Liberty City, where you would go to different areas. You already have the maps, you already have the assets. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I mean, that to me be like a no-brainer. Like, you want to keep the game going. Like, you don't want to go right back to the same place you were. You can go back later.
Yeah. Well, Dave's in chat says they could drop like a multiplayer like No Man's Sky. That's what I'm saying. Like they do something where you can like play the game with your friends or just live in the world. Like, because let's be honest, Hogwarts fans, or I should say Harry Potter fans, that's what they want, man. I mean, a week after the game came out, people had a mod in the PC where people were just hanging out inside the castle together. You couldn't go on missions or anything, but they were just in like a chat room and they were just hanging out with each other. Like that's what they want. They want an MMO. they want that online aspect of Hogwarts. They would love that. That's what they want, right? People,
is there enough? I mean, Potter's been around for a while. Is there enough people in the Potter world, the demographic,
be an MMO?
To be an MMO?
Oh
like
yeah.
To sustain it. Honestly,
yes.
Well, because listen, first of all, think about it. Think about it now. The movies have been out for a long time.
Doesn't matter.
Those people are grown up now. They're grown up and have families of their own.
Yep.
Do you think that group of people will sit and pay for an MMO of Harry Potter? I'm being serious.
Yes. Harry Potter would be I mean, I can't believe there hasn't been a fucking. Was there an MMO for Harry Potter? I don't think there has been.
That's a tall order, man. An MMO is very complicated. You can't just pop out an MMO.
I mean, fucking DC Universe Online's going for 11 years. You don't think Harry Potter would be very good as an MMO? Come on, bro.
You are comparing DC Universe.
Yeah, Harry Potter's 10 times bigger.
No, DC Universe has been around for 75 plus years. How many people know what DC Universe is?
That's exactly right.
Harry Potter's been around for a quarter.
No. Harry Potter is 3 times the size of the DC Universe of people that would play that game. Hands down.
All right.
No one's lining up to Six Flags to go to DC. There's a line around the goddamn world to get into the Harry Potter theme park.
If that's true, then how come none of these crazy bastards have talking about upcoming MMO for Harry Potter might be in the works? Right? They love talking up shit just to see if they get a little groundswell of information to see if people will be excited about it, but they don't.
Let me tell you something. If Hogwarts Legacy came out with a game like Suicide Squad, okay, and I mean where they kill Harry Potter and they piss on him, like you think that backlash right now for DC fans is bad because of disrespect, right? If they did anything to Harry Potter, Hermione, holy Christ, the world would blow up, right? There would be so much hate for anything if they shit on Harry Potter. I swear, like you don't understand. Harry Potter is, I think, up there with like Lord of the Rings as far as the population on planet Earth that is a fan of Harry Potter. The fan base is
fair enough,
gigantic.
I'm not denying it. I'm just asking it.
22 million copies sold for Hogwarts Legacy. There's people that bought that game that weren't even gamers. They're like, Harry Potter game? I'm gonna buy 5 copies, right? They're all there. People would be opening wand shops and potion shops just to craft the world of an MMO. People love just being in the world. That's exactly right. Like you've never been. Have you been to? Yeah. We went to Universal Studios when we couldn't walk in that area. Okay, and that was 10 years after it opened, or 8 years after it opened, right? It's that fan base. I think they deserve a game like that.
First of all, I'm happy, right? I'm ecstatic, and I'm not being sarcastic, that the Harry Potter fan base was able to get a game of that magnitude, the first game of that magnitude, to come out and be that kind of game. Like we didn't get that when we were growing up. Our DC games and Marvel games, I mean, garbage compared to that would be. Yeah. Garbage. We had to go through like 65 types of games before we got one
rolling Marvel games. Like it was just platformers. You're like, oh yeah, I'm Incredible Hulk jumping on platforms.
How long do you think it before we got to what was the one you played all the time? The Marvel one?
Marvel's Avengers.
No, not the one that came out. The one you played before that one came out. Like that one was good. It took years for that one to come out. When you could pick all the different characters.
Marvel's Future Revolution.
Is
the
it
mobile game?
Future Revolution one? Was it the mobile one? Was it?
I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's not too many that are good one, Mike. The one you played for years.
Oh,
and then you couldn't play it, and then you couldn't play it anymore because
Ultimate Alliance.
That's it. Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you get Marvel. Oh, Marvel Heroes is another one, Jason. Yeah, the MMO.
But how many games did we have until we waited before that one came out? Right? We slogged through a lot of crap, guys.
Yeah. Garrett.
The Hogwarts game that came out, the first one that came out was.
Dude, okay. I'm a Harry Potter fan of the films just because I worked in the film industry. I love how they made. I'm a fan of that. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I bought Hogwarts Legacy and I was blown away by the castle. And I know shit about Harry Potter. If you're a Harry Potter fan,
You're all over
that was the Star Wars universe for them, man. Like I would love a game like that for Star Wars. Right?
Yes.
I would love a game like that for Star Wars. Hopefully, Outlaws. Looking at you. Looking at you. Look how many millions have paid the crappy Potter mobile game where you go to Hogwarts, graduate, and get a job. Now make a AAA thing that you can do that. My ass would be in potions class. I'm telling you, man. Like that franchise is unbelievable. The last story I want to talk about, Sarge, is this is the origin story of a villain. Okay, this is Elon Musk's Neuralink has installed its first brain computer interface in the head of a human being. Okay, so back in 2016, Musk, a handful of scientists, engineered a goal to develop a brain-computer interface that would allow humans to interact with technology using natural signals. It realized this interface, okay, and now in 2023, at the end of 2023, they implemented it into the first human to have Neuralink in their brain. Now, obviously, we don't know if the person, is okay or whatnot. We don't know if the person that we know very little about it. Okay, but you imagine human with a Neuralink chip in their brain where they can now communicate with computers. Now, you got to take this, Sarge. Might be a movie, okay, but you got to imagine that people are bored. Okay, now this person's like, I'm kind of bored. Let me see what I can do. Can I change the channel of the TV? That's where it starts, right? It starts with, can I move the mouse with my brain, right? Can I go to the ATM machine and withdraw $10? Okay. Can I manipulate something where I can get and then look at data, and then all of a sudden I have all the information in my brain? Like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Right? Now, this could be sort of like what they're talking about, like if you're handicapped and you can't move your right hand, and then all of a sudden they put this chip in your brain, and all of a sudden now you can move your right hand. Awesome. But there's a lot that could go wrong. What do you think about this, Sarge?
Listen, think of the possibilities. It sounds good on paper, but the restrictions needed to stop people from running amok by just scanning Bluetooth with your brain, looking for shit, downloading shit. Like, you understand that you people would try to hack you instead of like trying to hack your computer. They try to hack you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's creepy and awesome all at the same time.
Is this considered the first? I mean, this is Brainiac, right? I mean, that's what this is.
It sounds like the beginning of a supervillain. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like this. When I joke and say this is the villain origin story, like whoever they put this chip into, it makes him go crazy, and then he starts to do like bad things. And then Elon Musk is so rich, he becomes like Iron Man and makes the suit, and he like fights against them. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, Jeff Bezos comes in and he dresses up like Batman, and he's like, and like all of a sudden we're like living in fucking like La La Land, and we're like, what's happening here?
First of all, Bezos is not Batman. Bezos is what's his face? I'm sorry. Oh my God, Lex Luthor.
No. Oh, Bezos is Lex Luthor. Yeah.
Bezos is Lex Luthor.
Mark Zuckerberg is who I was talking about. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg would be like Batman, right? Because he's a good fighter. Yeah, he's a good fighter. But yeah, Bezos is Lex Luthor. Elon Musk is Iron Man. Okay, sure. And Bezos, I don't know. Bezos is like the Riddler meets. I don't know. Yeah, but this is like a villain story happening. The dude's gonna get like, he's gonna get. This is what's gonna happen. He's walking around his house, right? He's walking around his house. He's like, "Hi, how's everything doing?" "Oh yeah, I'm fine." Whatever. He shuffles his feet on the rug and starts up a static charge, and then reaches out to like pop the toaster, and then all of a sudden it gives him a jolt, and then the short circuit brain goes in and he becomes Doc Ock from the fucking movie, right? And then he starts going crazy, and then he starts like hacking into different computers, and they're like, the whole system's shutting down, and like, what's going on? And Elon's like, the only person that can save it is me. I'm gonna have to do this myself. Go ahead. Insert the chip.
Okay, yeah. Imagine going out I feel like that's like a couple of years of having that chip in your head. Imagine going out and being able to like read people's phones
Yeah.
in a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi area.
Message. You don't even have to think. You just react.
You're just right. You're just sending messages with your. That's insanity, bro. It's insanity.
But think about that, Sarge. How much time could you save with a chip in your head where you don't even have to go to the social media anymore? It's just embedded into your brain. You're like, that's funny. Oh, like all of a sudden, like what's that? What's wrong with that guy? Right? Like he's seeing things in his imagination and his brain. Like he's going crazy. I'm telling you, nothing good comes from this.
You can surf the internet without even going on the internet. You're just thinking about it. You're just going online.
Yeah, when you're daydreaming, you're literally surfing the web. You're like, you okay? Right. Yeah. I just surfed the whole. Sorry, I just hacked into NASA. Sorry.
Right. I think in order to stop him from going crazy, you'd have to wear glasses that actually show the stuff that you're thinking about looking up.
It's like
because otherwise it's all in your head. Like the pictures you're seeing in your that would be insane. You go crazy.
He's like Cyclops. He has to wear glasses like Cyclops.
Right. Oh my god, dude! Listen, it sounds.
Chad, are you taking notes?
Amazing.
Are you taking notes? This is
amazing.
We can make a video game. We can make a video game of this, Sarge, and we can ask what was it, Pixel Pair, to make it. The people that made Palworld, they could come up with a game real fast. We could do this. If they're not going to give us a Superman game, we'll give them an Iron Man game.
I'm 100%. I'm 100%. Like, listen, the computer, your brain is a computer. There's electric impulses going on all the time. If you're able to harness the power of that and be able to, like, let's just say, repair damaged nerves, or like
they can. Elon said that you can.
That's what I'm saying. Like for health purposes, like
it's amazing. Someone can walk again.
But right? Someone who can't walk can walk. Like
can walk again.
I'll give you a good example. When I feel depressed, right? Instead of drinking, right? I don't drink a lot anymore. I know you think I do, but I don't. Right? Instead of drinking, what I do is I go online and I watch all the videos of the people hearing for the first time.
Oh yeah, that you could be the most heartless person, and when you see that happen, you're like, oh,
because I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
Right? And then I started watching, and I'm like, we can actually get people who have never heard in their entire lives. Now they can hear.
Yeah, or see, or walk.
Right? Well, the seeing thing is coming up. That's the next thing that they're working on. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what this technology is supposed to be for. Not I'm trying to take over the world, Superman 3 style. I'm going to steal half a penny of everybody's bank account on Monday.
Just take a little bit of a penny from here.
Right. Then I'm a billionaire, right? I'm taking a half a cent from everybody that downloads their money on Monday morning. I'm a billionaire. I'm done. Like, it's crazy, dude.
Hey, we need to order that thing from Amazon. Done. What?
Right.
Done. I already talked to him. We're good.
All right.
Me and Alexa are like this.
Right. By the way, I'm dating Alexa. Right. That's basically what happened. You have a chip in your head. You're dating Alexa.
Yeah. You're.
And lo and behold, you can't cheat on Alexa.
Yeah, you're having a threesome with Alexa and Siri. That's it. That's it.
Right. The ultimate nerd dream. I got a chip in my head, and I do a three-way with Alexa and Siri.
Yeah, and then Cortana joins in. Yeah,
bro move,
and then Cortana comes in, and then we're just all having a blast. Yeah. Oh my god.
Total bro move. The first thing you do with a computer power in your head is a three-way with Siri and
Alexa and
that's where we go.
And Cortana is it. You remember the Disney movie Smart House? It's like that. I don't think I've ever seen Smart House. When did that come out? I don't think I've ever seen that. Smart House sounds like a movie that would be like a murder film where like the house goes against you. Is that what that is? All right, chat. If you're a member of the chat, I'm not going to make it into member only or anything like that. But if you have a question for me and Sarge for the next like 10 minutes, you can hit us up. Yeah. And what, less? 5 minutes? Sarge has got things to do. 5 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, if you have a question, just hit @30. I paused my game to be here. Okay, so we got to hurry up for Sarge. Okay. So if you have a question for me or Sarge, just put @30 NSG. If you're a member, We'll answer your question. It's no longer Bing, it's Bang. Yeah, I'm amazed of all the, I'm gonna talk about more about the Suicide Squad fiasco that's happening on YouTube right now. It is hilarious, man. Okay, so Upper Echelon, love his videos. I still like these people that I watch, right? It's just that they have their opinions and whatnot. He made a video about Suicide Squads, and he freaking hated it. Like, he absolutely shit over the entire thing. I was like, I see his point. But I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed what's happening and what this game is doing to certain people. Who else was there's actually a good one. Your Raptor had actually he actually reviewed the actual game. He gave his thoughts on the actual game and what it is, and he actually liked it.
Incredible.
So, yeah. So he didn't bring up any of the stuff that people are having drama. He just talked about the game. Was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. JC says it's really sad. Imagine if someone puts onto the Neuralink or Cortana or Corn. Is that what you're saying? Cornus? I don't know what that is. Is that
Cronus?
What's Cronus? What's Cronus? Is that another AI that I don't know about? I'm not sure what that is, Krebsy. Sorry, I'm old. I don't know what that is.
Sounds familiar. I don't remember what it is now. Give me a minute.
ChatGPT, Cores. I don't know what that all this stuff is. Is a hacking tool. Aimbot. Oh, okay. There you go. Okay.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh, I saw that video that you sent me. With Azakross talking about it, and then the people that made the video about how they're capturing and catching people. It's like a fingerprint in video games, so they can tell if you're cheat once, they'll always know you're a cheater.
And you're permabanned from gaming, bro.
Yeah, that's insane.
You need to put that link. You need to put that link in Discord.
No, I'm gonna watch that video on Monday. We're gonna watch that movie on Monday morning. It's crazy.
You're gonna watch?
Yeah, we're gonna watch the original video, not Azakross video. Yeah. Lurker says you're working on the third squad character, still having fun on the third try. Yeah. I'm actually having more fun. I did Harley Quinn first. I did Deadshot second. I'm doing Captain Boomerang third, and I'm doing Shark last. I was thinking about going live after this and playing some more, and just leveling them up with some more. So. At the Season 2 4C, Rocksteady pulling a Bungie and saying our game has much content time to make Suicide Squad content vault, a.k.a. No, I don't think they're going to take anything away. I don't. But saying that, I also don't think they have to, because I don't think the game is lasting 10 years. Right? I don't think they're stopping Suicide Squad 1 to make Suicide Squad 2. You know what I mean? Like, the reason that Destiny did what they did is because they went from 1 to 2, and they had to change it fundamentally. And there's much more on the back end why they did what they did, and they lied to us. But that's besides the point. I don't think Rocksteady goes from Suicide's 1 to 2, and then they remove everything. I think this game lasts right now. In the game, it shows that they have a year and a half worth of content ready to go. So that's it. And then if it does well, if it sells well, we'll find out within, like Sarge said, like 2 weeks. We'll see what the sales, the reviews or whatnot. And if it does well, then it'll continue past the 2.5 year mark. And then it'll go into maybe 5, maybe. But I think this game is done 3 to 5. Yeah.
3 sounds good.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't think it needs to be a 10-year game.
No.
Yeah. Permaban from your own PC or console. Yeah, so we'll watch the video on Monday, but basically these guys came up with this this software, and anyone can submit it to anything. So it just takes the video and can take your YouTube video or whatever and can tell if you're cheating based on the movements and stuff that you're doing and the way you're shooting. Okay? Once it does that, it reads it and then submits it and then basically reports you. And then it knows that you're cheating because of it. So basically it has evidence and proof of you're doing. It's pretty crazy. Well, we're going to watch the movie. We're going to watch the video on Monday and talk about it.
Well, but it's because of the fact that you can cheat now and not be caught at all. And
Correct.
So they have to combat the people that are cheating. What the problem is now is we're going to get to the point where if that anti-cheat software works, you basically become permabanned.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many accounts you create because it identifies you by the way you play, and like I forget what it was. It was like
it finds it's
a digital fingerprint.
Yeah, it's a digital fingerprint
of you. And so regardless how many times you create a new account, it eventually it knows it's you.
It learns the behavior of how you play.
Right. And then you're permabanned again. So basically you could be permabanned from gaming, which is
it's not
insane.
Chad, it's not a one and done ban and you're done.
Right.
What it does is, so if you're a YouTuber, or even if you're not a YouTuber, there's kill cams, right? There's kill cams where you can see the person's their viewpoint of that. And you can see what happens. Now the human eye can't catch it, but the computer can. And it knows how you are and the behavioral of how someone does it. So if you watch a video of someone that's cheating, there's no fear. They know where everyone is, so they just run to the point, right? They bust into a door and just go directly to the person because they can see you. You can't see them. If someone's not cheating, they come in the door nice and slow. They're looking around. They're taking their sweet time because they don't know what's behind the walls and corners. So they can tell if someone's cheating or not cheating based on the habits that they do. No one just runs into a room and just starts mowing down, right? But if they have confidence, okay, now they can tell if you're a person that does it over and over and over. It starts to go, oh, okay, so he's a good player. This is not a good player. There's something nefarious going on here. The way the mouse moves and clicks to the person is not natural or whatnot. So there's ways, and obviously, you might think that you're not doing it, but people that are cheating, they're very loose when they do it because they don't think anyone knows that they're cheating. So they just willy-nilly just do what they do, and they get caught real fast. It's almost like when someone steals, they're like, right? They're looking around, not looking conspicuous, but they are.
That's correct, Krebsy. That's correct.
It gives you a digital thumbprint, and then you get banned for your thumbprint gets banned. Right. Exactly. For multiplayer games, it's cheating as long as it doesn't extend to single player / offline. Well, why would you get banned from your own single player game? Was the NPC are the NPCs now like real and they're complaining? I don't know what's happening there.
Because you cheated on Alexa. That's why.
Banned
from your own computer.
We see you cheating. Like everyone in the game all of a sudden turns towards you. The NPCs, like the dolls, and you're like, oh, we know you're cheating, Mike.
That'd be actually cool. That'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's not happening. Some single player games make you be online, sure, but why would they ban you from a single player game? Give me an example why they would.
Now you're just being petty.
Why would they ban you from a single player game?
I can't use my OP build in my single player game. I got to get banned from that.
Yeah. If someone gets banned from EA multiplayer, does it extend to their entire EA account? Yeah, they would get banned. They would get banned completely. They wouldn't be able to play.
They wouldn't be able to play any of the picture not being able to play any of your first person shooters in multiplayer because they caught you cheating in one of them. Then you'd be banned from all of them. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll watch that video Monday morning next week. So, all right. That's going to do it for episode 381 is in the can for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories of the past week, and we rant along the way. If you like what we do here, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and then I'm going to go live again with Suicide Squad. We're going to finish leveling up Captain Boomerang. I'll probably be live for an hour and a half, because we're at level 25, I think now, 26. And I'll get him to 30 tonight. So appreciate it very much. Make sure you can watch us and listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. You can also watch this after the fact. We do appreciate you very much, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Game on, guys.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.